Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Naruto. I, Gojo Satoru, become Uchiha Itachi younger brother. Chapter 81. Wu Jiaowu's blue eyes looked at everything on the scene very calmly. He was not surprised by the strangeness of the ninja. These ninjas aren't actually real. It's all just a forgery. So naturally it won't be hurt by Naruto's attack. Presumably this ninja was watching their every move nearby, waiting for the opportunity to strike at any time. Wu Jiaowu stroked the broken hair that was blown to his forehead by the night wind. Still no action was taken, just quietly blending with the night. According to the current strength of the three-man team, this rain ninja is not impossible to deal with. He will have fun paddling. Wu Jiaowu bent his eyes and thought silently. At this time, Naruto was about to be hit by the kunagi coming from behind. Naruto! Sasuke exclaimed. He turned on Sharingan to observe the enemy, while projecting a shuriken with his right hand. Boom! A crisp crash sounded. The shuriken smashed the kunai that was about to hit Naruto successfully. The sight of the Siamese ninja who had just attacked returned to Sasuke. He raised the kunai in his hand and waved it out forcefully. Brush! Kunai hurriedly attacked Sasuke with a cold light. Sasuke managed to dodge, but his hair was cut by kunai's sharp edge. Can't be wrong, it's the entity, not the phantom. I see. A gleam of flashed in Sasuke's eyes. He finally understood everything. These guys are phantoms, the illusion of the enemy. Sasuke reminded Naruto and little Sakura next to him. The enemy is probably hiding somewhere, cooperating with the attacks of these illusion ninjas, and attacking from elsewhere. It's all designed to confuse us into thinking that these phantom ninjas are attacking us. Actually, these illusion ninjas are just false shadows transformed by illusion. Not offensive. Sasuke conducts his own analysis on Naruto and little Sakura. After a brief discussion, they also have related plans. Confused by Naruto using multiple shadow clone techniques. The three of them are hidden in Naruto clones. Then the clones of the three pretended to be exhausted to lure the long-hidden ninja of ammonium. The plan soon went as smoothly and successfully as they had hoped. In the end, Naruto knocked down the hidden rain country ninja with one move, and took his scroll by the way. It's the Book of the Sky, Naruto said casually. They've already collected the scrolls, so it's not that important. Not bad, everyone, Wu Jiaowu said vaguely, holding a string of 3 color balls in his hand. The short white hair was blown back and forth by the night wind. Looking at Wu Jiaowu, who seemed to be on an outing, Sasuke couldn't help twitching at the corners of his mouth. Have you been watching a play just now? Wu Jiaowu held his chin and said seriously. How could it be that I was just paddling? Hello, you are enough. Does your conscience not hurt? After seeing Wu Jiaowu's bright smile, everyone suddenly fell into silence. Just when they were immersed in the joy after the battle. Yakushi Kabuto on the tree watched them calmly. This fight by Uchiha Sasuke was brilliant. Sharingan has been able to use it proficiently. Responsiveness is also fast. And he desires power more than anyone else. Really good data collected. His sidekick Uzumaki Naruto was also unexpected, and chakra was surprisingly powerful. As for the other guy, this white-haired teenager rarely makes any shots from beginning to end, making it difficult to analyze. Is this a coincidence, or is it intentional? Yakushi Kabuto pushed his glasses and pondered for a moment. Soon after, he jumped to the place where he met Orochimaru. Orochimaru slowly turned around when he heard footsteps. Is there a harvest? Yakushi Kabuto shook his head regretfully. Only part of it. Uchiha Sasuke's data has almost been collected. But the white-haired boy. It was a rare failure in his career as a spy. Orochimaru was not surprised to hear that. He had already anticipated it. The opposite Yakushi Kabuto took out a card from his pocket and looked at Orochimaru. In the second exam, Uchiha Sasuke's stats were all recorded. There is no particular intelligence at present as to the other person. Hidden is still relatively deep. Orochimaru reached out to take the card, and Snake Eye slowly swept over Yakushi Kabuto. What about the situation then? I want to hear your opinion as Oninin. Yakushi Kabuto pondered for a moment and said, Uchiha Sasuke really inherits the power and hatred of a powerful bloodline, and is very eager for power. As for the other person, nothing has been found so far. However, the final decision is in your hands, and the rest is not important. No matter how talented he is just a boy without blood lineage, and he cannot compete with Lord Orochimaru at all. The final choice is still with Orochimaru-sama. I just like your cleverness. The golden snake pupils flashed a dangerous light. The other side, Wu Jiaowu and Sasuke. They came to the center tower and successfully merged with Ghost Lantern and Bai. They opened the scroll and went to another place. Is this the next exam room? Wu Jiaowu looked around while holding his chin. All the candidates gathered here, they greeted each other in whispers. And the chief examiner has not come yet. It looks quite interesting. Speaking of which, the time for Orochimaru to lose both arms is almost here. Thinking of this, Wu Jiaowu's eyes slightly curved. Hey, Wu Jiaowu, a murderous voice suddenly sounded, awakening Wu Jiaowu at the moment. This is. Wu Jiaowu turned around slowly, and what caught his eye was Gaara's beast-like eyes. I must beat you next, Gaara said coldly with arms folded. Nearby Temari and Kankuro also looked at Wu Jiaowu. They are not as confident that Gaara can defeat Wu Jiaowu anymore. However, this kind of competition is actually more favorable for Gaara, so the result is unknown. The three greeted Wu Jiaowu together and turned to leave. Sasuke, who was beside them after they left, asked in confusion. Have you met before? How could he find his second brother to fight? Wu Jiaowu held his chin and said uncertainly. I think I've seen it. However, in the third test, candidates should not be allowed to choose their opponents at will. So don't worry about it. He remembered that the original book seemed to be picked at random. He shouldn't be so unlucky. As soon as the words fell, he picked up the three-color ball in his hand again and ate it. On the other side, Gaara, who had not gone far, fell into a strange silence. At this time, Gaara kept exuding a strong murderous aura. Calm down, Gaara. Temari wiped his cold sweat and comforted quickly. I didn't expect that the white boy's infuriating effort was still undiminished. If I knew earlier, I wouldn't come to say hello. If Gaara didn't hold back, their plans would be exposed. Kill him, Gaara said coldly. I'm going to crush him. The red hair became more and more ominous under the cover of murderous aura. The surrounding sand also began to surging violently. At this time, the examiners came one after another. The examiner, Moonlight Blast, came to the crowd. Before the third exam begins, there is one thing that needs to be done. That's the pre-selection about whether or not to participate in the third exam. The next preliminaries are individual battles, and those who successfully pass the competition are eligible to participate in the third test. Moonlight Blast slowly explained the game. At the same time, Orochimaru also hides in the crowd and watches them secretly. What follows is a personal battle. I'm afraid it's not that easy to hide. Let me see how you do it. Wu Jiaowu, third Hokage, looked at the group of candidates in front of him with a smile. They're all good kids. Unexpectedly, there are so many left, and the vast majority of them are newcomers. No wonder they are all vying for recommendations. Sarutobi Hiruzen withdrew his gaze in satisfaction and glanced back at the other examiner ninjas. Suddenly, his eyes stopped on Mitarashi Anko, who looked a little strange. What's wrong? Is there something wrong with this group of students? Hearing this, Mitarashi Anko withdrew his eyes and looked at the third generation of Hokage. Nothing, Hokage sir, I was just thinking. Anko paused and continued. Which one of them is Orochimaru targeting? Having said this, her voice was a little low and heavy. Those who are targeted by Orochimaru are almost dead, and very few survive. This kind of thing is too cruel for their group of teenagers. Third Hokage let out a long sigh. It's Sasuke. It's only possible, he's always been. Thinking back on the past, Sarutobi Hiruzen fell into a long silence. Maybe he shouldn't have let Orochimaru go at that time. His return this time made him a little uneasy. It always feels like a storm is coming. Mitarashi Anko nodded and returned to the group of candidates. Uchiha Sasuke is very likely indeed. But Orochimaru was alluding to more than one person at the time. At least one other boy was also targeted by Orochimaru. Who would that be? Could it be Naruto? Kakashi heard their conversation too. After all, he has 9 tails sealed inside his body. Third Hokage shook his head and spoke slowly. It shouldn't be, it's not his style. Naruto should not be in his plans. Mitarashi Anko's eyes stayed on the candidate opposite for a long time. Is it Neji? No, no way. As soon as she finished speaking, she took the lead in rejecting it. Neji's white eyes are an inferior product to Orochimaru, and he cannot be chosen. So who else? Suddenly, she thought of something, and her eyes fell gently on the ghost lights Yu and Bai in the crowd. Their words are very likely. Lord Hokage, I think there are two people who qualify, Anko said in a serious voice. Oh, third Hokage looked back at Mitarashi Anko. Kakashi also looked over when he heard the words. Who on earth is it? He was also a little curious. Kakashi thought to himself as he touched the forehead protector. Mitarashi Anko said slowly after pondering for a while. Two people set the record for the fastest arrival to the central tower this time around. They arrived in just 97 minutes. The two people I'm talking about are Bai and Ghost Lantern Yu from Sweet Ninja Village. Didn't Sunagaku's trio arrive first? Third Hokage asked suspiciously. They're just the first team to clear the game. Mitarashi Anko shook his head and said calmly. And the first ninja to arrive was not Sunagaku's three-person team, but the two ninjas from Sweet Ninja Village. It seems that their companions did not arrive in time due to a delay, so it is not the first group of customs clearance teams. These two ninjas should be very strong. When they arrived at the central tower, they were unharmed, and they are very likely to be selected targets. Having said this, Mitarashi Anko's eyes stayed on Wu Jiaowu, the white-haired boy in the Sweet Ninja Village group. He didn't expect his companions to be so powerful. No wonder he dared to face Orochimaru's murderous aura before the exam. Originally, because of this special point, the first person she suspected was him. But among the three, only he arrived the latest and passed the slowest, so he was put aside after that. Unexpectedly, the person Orochimaru is eyeing now might be his companion. Is that so? Third Hokage looked thoughtfully at the trio of Sweet Ninja Village opposite. Looks young and should be very talented, and may indeed be Orochimaru's target. Sweet Ninja Village. This newly established ninja village is also quite famous in the ninja world, but of course it is not the reputation of goodwill. Unexpectedly, these three teenagers are all from Tianrin Village. It's very possible to say that. Kakashi also fixed his eyes on the three-man group over there. There was a strange look on his face. According to his previous judgment, the white-haired boy Wu Jiaowu should be the same as the captain among them. This test was not as bright as his teammates. Is he hiding something? Or rather think too much? For some reason, I always felt that the other person Orochimaru was talking about was this white-haired boy. Delusion. Anyway, pay more attention. Third Hokage sighed and ended the conversation. At the same time, the moonlight blast not far away ended the exam information explanation. He coughed a few times, looked at the crowd and asked again. Finally, does anyone want to give up after listening to the explanation just now? Please bring it up now. Because the qualifiers will start soon. After hearing what the examiner Yugong Gale said, the candidates present had different reactions. They were discussing each other in whispers. Start immediately. Give up. How is this possible? Finally just passed the second exam. Hey, what about lunch? Wu Jiaowu looked at the people who were constantly sighing and hit a heish. Tisk, what a hassle. Why did he want to join in the fun in the first place? One is that it is convenient to sneak into Konoha because of the candidate's identity, and the other is. Thinking of this, Wu Jiaowu raised his chin with a straight face and thought seriously. In short, not to do things, scare people. Is he that shallow? Naruto next to him also heard the examiner's words. He was not nervous and depressed, but raised his arms and shouted loudly. Very well, I will try my best. The loudness of the voice immediately attracted countless crowds. What an idiot, Sasuke said helplessly, twitching the corners of his mouth. However, if you come here, who will quit? At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded. That, I give up. Yakushi Kabuto in the crowd raised his hand. His speech immediately attracted a crowd of onlookers. Moonlight Blast also looked at Yakushi Kabuto among the candidates. He coughed and started flipping through the list of candidates. You are Yakushi Kabuto of Konoha. Then you can leave. Yes, Yakushi Kabuto replied without hesitation. He walked slowly towards the entrance of the examination room. Don't act rashly. A ninja quietly came to Yakushi Kabuto and said in secret. Have you forgotten Orochimaru-sama's order? He stared coldly at the ninja whom Orochimaru took seriously. What the hell is this guy trying to do? Yakushi Kabuto pushed his glasses and said softly. I'll leave it to you, Kai. I don't need a non-combatant here. Aren't you angry recently because you were surpassed by me? Now is a great opportunity. The face of the ninja named Kai instantly turned black, and he said fiercely while suppressing his anger. HMPH, it's just that Orochimaru-sama respects me. Don't be too arrogant, boy. I see, senpai, Yakushi Kabuto said indifferently, the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. His task is almost complete. He has already collected the collected data. As for the ones that haven't been successful yet, the figure of Wu Jiaowu, a white-haired boy, suddenly flashed in his mind. Although I still want to watch you for a while. But if it goes on, I worry that I'll be as excited as I used to be. I'm still a spy anyway. You can't show your true colors here. And since Orochimaru-sama is watching here himself, then I don't need my role as an intelligence collector. What Orochimaru-sama wanted to accomplish has not been unsuccessful. Goodbye, Wu Jiaowu, Sasuke. Save the fun for later. We will see Taxi again. At the same time, Wu Jiaowu's gaze swept over Yakushi Kabuto's back slightly. Is this ready to leave? Yep, it was also a headache to have someone looking at him all the time. However, even if he was gone, Orochimaru would still be watching. What a hassle. Fortunately, he was not coveting himself. This kind of mollusk cold-blooded animal is the most difficult for him. I don't want to get close at all. Let Sasuke follow it exclusively. Wu Jiaowu thought without conscience. Soon after the contestants left the field, the next preliminaries were about to kick off. Moonlight Blast looked at the candidates and said slowly. Then the qualifiers start now, and the next qualifiers are one-on-one individual matches. That is, a battle in the form of actual combat. There are exactly 26 people, then 13 matches. The winner can go to the third exam. There are no rules. Until one party dies or falls. Or until you admit defeat. So if you don't want to die, just admit defeat. However, if I think it's a winner, in order not to indifferently increase the death toll, I'll step in and stop you. The next master's destiny is this, 443, electronic bulletin board. It randomly selects the names of 2 opponents for each battle. Then immediately reveal the 2 contestants of the first fight. The big screen rolled slowly, and 2 names appeared on it instantly. Red Carcass Armor, Uchiha. Then there are 2 players on the bulletin board, please come forward. Watching them slowly come forward, Moonlight Blast continued. The first battle was against Red Carcass and Uchiha. Any objections? Uchiha and Akatsuki shook their heads respectively. Wu Jiaowu held his chin and watched this unquestionable match calmly. Since Sasuke in the original book can defeat the red body armor in a negative state, not to mention Sasuke who is in excellent condition now, victory has already been decided. The battle on the field began immediately with the announcement of the Moonlight Blast. Akatsuki looked blankly at Uchiha Sasuke across from him. Is this the person Orochimaru-sama ordered to observe? Doesn't look good either. However, since the Lord has taken a fancy to his aptitude, why didn't he put a curse on him? Instead, let yourself test him. The red body armor thought secretly. The other side, Orochimaru hid among the ninjas to watch the battle. The red body armor is his spy planted in Konoha. His special ability is the chakra absorption technique. Through the contact between his own hands and others, he can automatically absorb the energy of the opponent and make the opponent lose the fighting consciousness. I had planned to use the red body armor to test the relevant data of Uchiha, who had the curse mark. Unexpectedly, in the middle of it, the person named Wu Jiaowu interrupted the game. After that, in order to carry out the Konoha plan, there was no other opportunity to do it for a while. But it didn't matter, he found new prey. As for the chess piece of the red carcass armor, it is not bad to use it here. Let him see what kind of power Uchiha Sasuke can exert against the red body armor that absorbs chakra. Orochimaru's golden eyes flashed dangerously for a moment. The battle on the field continues. Uchiha Sasuke stared at the ninja opposite with a solemn expression. What a strange ability. He could actually absorb other people's chakra. Sasuke touched his weak arms, his eyes deepened. Shit. Most of the chakra that had been overlooked just now was absorbed. The current Sharingan is almost unsustainable. It seems that the next battle can't just rely on Sharingan and ninjutsu. Gotta think of something else. This ability is very restrained in melee combat. Unless you give up the spell and the Sharingan, and use the physical attack completely, it will be very disadvantageous. How to do? He looked up at the ninja red armor on the opposite side, lost in thought. Suddenly, his cornered light fell on Wu Jiaowu, who was breathing not far away. Then, as if thinking of something, his eyes suddenly lit up, and the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. Correct. There is another way to try. Thanks, brother. Sasuke turned his gaze back to the red body armor. The opposite ninja red carcass also quickly discovered his distraction. He sneered with a dark face. You still have time to look around. Then he suddenly attacked Sasuke. The opposite Uchiha Sasuke didn't speak, just threw countless kunai between dodging. Naruto off the field scratched his head when he saw this scene. Why does it always feel a little familiar? He said in confusion. It seems like I've seen it somewhere. At this time, Wu Jiaowu was leaning against the wall and watching the game. Isn't this his way of arranging the lightning grid? Wu Jiaowu's eyes narrowed slightly and he soon revealed a clear smile. Remember so quickly. Not bad. At the same time, Gaara and the others also saw this scene. Isn't that what that guy used? Temari said in surprise. She was acutely aware of what Uchiha Sasuke wanted to do. Then he turned his attention from Uchiha Sasuke to Wu Jiaowu, who was languid on the opposite side. Not long ago, they suffered a big loss because of this, so they are very impressed now. Different. This one in front of me is not as good as that white-haired guy. Gaara glanced at him and said indifferently. As someone who had been imprisoned by this lightning trap for a long time, he soon discovered the clue. Although they are both traps, slightly different operation methods lead to different results. Temari and Kankuro pondered for a while, then nodded in unison. However, even so, it is enough to deal with the opposite ninja. The other side, Orochimaru also found clues. His snake pupils shrunk into needles, and a strange smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Interesting. Isn't this what the white-haired ninja did when he fought against him earlier? Can it be used here? Uchiha Sasuke. Was it all remembered by Sharingan at that time? What an enviable talent. However, being the first to think of each other's moves at such a critical juncture, it seems that the two have a good relationship. Maybe he can take advantage of this later. Orochimaru suppressed his murderous aura and excitement when he remembered Wu Jiaowu, and quietly watched the battle on the field. What the hell are you doing? The impatient Kai Sha said irritably. Don't hide, come out and fight happily. This kid can't catch it, it's really annoying. Okay. Sasuke on the opposite side snorted coldly. As soon as the voice fell, he stopped in an instant, jumped up and shot countless shuriken in the air. Lightning style. In an instant, a powerful thunderbolt followed Kuwu and tied the red body armor firmly. At this time, the red body armor looked at the whole body with an unpleasant expression. I saw that my own was firmly locked by countless blue lightning. The whole body was paralyzed by the electric shock, unable to move. Oops, fool. Sasuke on the opposite side saw this scene and did not take it lightly. This trap of his can't last as long as the second brother. Can only hold a few breaths. Fire style. Dragon fire technique. In an instant, a huge flame rushed towards the ninja red carcass armor. After the flames passed, the red body armor collapsed to the ground and instantly lost its combat effectiveness. It's dangerous. Sasuke breathed a little, finally succeeded. He wiped his fine sweat and slowly fell to the ground. The blue clan uniform, stained with a little dust, actually shone brightly under the sunlight. On the other side, the examinee's observation point. The examiners who saw this scene began to discuss. What a clever mind, this newcomer is amazing. It's really talented and talented. Should it be Uchiha? Genius. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was standing beside him, also nodded frequently. The kid Sasuke is a lot like his older brothers. The same are young geniuses. It's just that wisdom will be hurt, and being too smart may not be a good thing. Just like Uchiha back then. Suddenly, he took a long sigh and fell into a heavy memory. At the same time, a look of surprise also flashed across Mitarashi Anko's face. His expression darkened slightly. This, very similar to the way Orochimaru was trapped that day. She instantly remembered the scene where Orochimaru was trapped in a lightning trap in the exam room. Could it be that that person is Uchiha Sasuke? Impossible. The power is too much. If it is today's level, it is impossible to affect Orochimaru at all. Moreover, Uchiha Sasuke's strength should not reach this level. What a clever idea. Kakashi stroked the forehead protector and sighed slowly. Didn't think it was possible to do this. However, it's a little strange. This style doesn't look like Sasuke's kid. This style of digging a hole and constantly digging a hole is too far from Sasuke's character. It stands to reason that he can't use this trick. How strange. However, this style is very similar to the original guy. Thinking of this, Kakashi's eyes flashed with traces of regret. It's not that the scourge is left for thousands of years. I didn't expect that guy Uchiha Satoru to be so young. After a long time, he slowly retracted his thoughts. Kakashi, who just came back to his senses, noticed the strangeness on Anko's face next to him. Hey, what's wrong with you? Mitarashi Anko shook his head and said in a low voice. You saw that fight just now. Well, I see. Kakashi scratched his head and looked at her suspiciously. It was a great fight. What's wrong? Mitarashi Anko organized the language and said slowly. I met Orochimaru before in the Forest of Death exam room. He was trapped by the net made by thunder and lightning. Kakashi nodded thoughtfully. Well, you said it before. Is this today the same as the lightning network you saw at the time? He immediately noticed some clues. It's not quite the same though. Mitarashi Anko nodded. But there are some similarities. So is this person also a student here? Meet Uchiha Sasuke. So that kid Orochimaru said. Hearing this, Kakashi looked at Wu Jiaowu not far away thoughtfully. In that case, Sasuke should have been in contact with that person. So the attack method will be the same. Did he do it? Is it also him that Orochimaru is targeting? Although there is no reason, but intuition tells him that he has nothing to do with this guy. Is that so? Kakashi said slowly. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was next to him, also noticed their conversation. He didn't ask anything but took a long sigh. Who will be the one who can stop Orochimaru briefly? Although the method is tricky, it must be a rare genius to be able to do this. What is the intention of such a person suddenly approaching Uchiha Sasuke? Did he come for Sharingan like Orochimaru? Wu Jiaowu held his chin and looked at Sasuke who had just come from the examination room. Not bad, he said casually. The pale blue eyes were also slightly curved. Sasuke took a few breaths and didn't speak. After the battle just now, her hair also exploded slightly. How can the second brother speak so much? However, this time, thanks to him. Otherwise, it might really be explained here. Idiot Sasuke, you are so embarrassed. Naruto next to him laughed mercilessly. He had a big smile on his face. The blue eyes seemed to sparkle. Idiot, Sasuke replied coldly. Then the corners of his mouth curved slightly. The players in the next game should come out. Wu Jiaowu looked back at the opposite electronic screen. I don't know who it will be. The electronic screen flickered slowly, and the names of the contestants suddenly appeared. Aburame Shino, Shiro, Naruto shouted. Isn't by a teammate of Mr. Bandage. He's going to fight. Yo, it's your turn. Wu Jiaowu said happily. So if we were all in the first few games, we could have left earlier. Wu Jiaowu touched the bandage and said seriously. If he leaves early, he can catch up with the store's promotions. Sounds pretty good. Well, Bai nodded silently and walked into the examination room. In the examination room, Shiro and Aburame Shino stood on one side, wary of each other. The battle is imminent. Shiro's one-handed Yuyin attacked first. Water-style secret art 1000 kills Shui Shang. He instantly turned the water into a large number of thousands of books and fired at Aburame Shino with a wide-range high-speed fire of nearly 360 degrees. A flash of shock flashed across Aburame Shino's eyes. So fast. Is this the speed genin can achieve? Not only is the printing speed fast, but the attack speed is also very fast. He quickly cast a ninja to defend. Secret art, insect wall art. Countless bugs swirled around him at high speed for defense. On the other side, the examinee's observation point. Third Hokage and the other examiners watched the battle between the two earnestly. Is this the limit of blood and ice escape? Third Hokage said slowly. I haven't seen this in a long time. That being said, he is indeed very likely to be targeted by Orochimaru. I didn't expect this newly established village to have such talent. Mitarashi Anko next to him sighed while holding his chin. Kakashi shook his head and looked towards the arena, the mask covering the expression on his face. Don't forget the nature of Sweet Ninja Village. It is a gathering place for wandering ninjas, so naturally anyone is possible. Ibe Mori also got into the topic when he heard the words. This ninja is so good, how about the other two? I remember as if one of them was the captain of the squad. He should be better. Hearing this, Kakashi couldn't help but think of that guy Wu Jiaowu. In other words, I haven't seen him make a move so far. It's very mysterious. Mitarashi Anko next to him also thought of the boy. As the captain, his strength should be stronger than this white ninja. This Chunin exam is really interesting. Mitarashi Anko thought silently. Meanwhile, fierce battles are still taking place on the test grounds. But as time goes by, the battle is coming to an end. Bing done. Bai said coldly. With Shiro's last move, Aburame Shino was successfully defeated by Shiro. White won the individual match. Outside the field, the students exclaimed in amazement. Amazing. Is this Genin's level? I didn't expect the newcomers to be so strong this year. What kind of bloodline boundary is this, so special? Shikamaru, who saw this scene, was also very surprised. I didn't expect him to lose like this, he said slowly. Isn't it normal to win or lose a match? Yamanaka Ino shook his head. Shikamaru clasped his hands together and looked into the distance. It's not surprising that the game was lost, he said quietly. It's amazing how quickly he ended the fight. Aburame Shino's teammates are also discussing the matter. I didn't expect Shino to lose like this, Hyuga Hinata said to Inazukaya with an uneasy look. It's really unexpected, Inazukaya said with a solemn expression while holding Akamaru. And that boy is so strong. Who is he? Why haven't I heard of this person before? By the way, his teammates seem to be Naruto's friends. Hinata pointed to Wu Jiaowu not far away. Inazukaya looked in the direction she pointed. The one with white hair. It's him, as if he were called Wu Jiaowu. Neji, who passed by the two of them, said coldly. He slowly turned his head to look at Hinata, who looked uneasy. Only the weak worry about who their opponents are. I'm worried about this kind of thing, your cultivation is just like that. The opposite Hinata looked at Neji with cold eyes and felt even more uneasy. What do you want to do? Inazukaya said with a bad expression. Hyuga Neji ignored his words and slowly left with his teammates. All that was left was Inazukaya, who had a dissatisfied look on his face. This guy, are geniuses all such virtues? Too arrogant. At this time, the Neji team is also discussing the battle just now. The ice ninja just now was really good, Lee said enthusiastically. I want to fight them. Looking forward so much. There was fierce fighting spirit and enthusiasm in his eyes. Yeah, Neji was also infected by his enthusiasm and nodded slowly. No matter who we meet, the winner must be us. Every day raises a bright smile. The group ended the conversation. At the same time, a pair of eyes were hidden in the lively crowd. Ha ha ha, Orochimaru let out a low laugh. I didn't expect his teammates to come so much fun. Ice escape blood follows the boundary, it sounds very good. This Chunin exam really didn't come in vain. Everything was such a surprise. His golden eyes were full of indifference and terror that belonged only to snakes. At the same time, Wu Jiaowu is also constantly initiating discussions. Mr. Bandage, I didn't expect Shiro to be so powerful. Naruto scratched his head and said brightly. Of course, my students. Wu Jiaowu said vaguely while eating. White broken hair kept floating in the air. Mr. Bandage, your student, Naruto shouted, a look of surprise in his eyes. He doesn't look like a teacher at all. Well, what's the problem? Wu Jiaowu said with his arms folded and his face serious. A day student is also a student. No one can deny his contribution. Wu Jiaowu thought rather narcissistically. Didn't I give you a training camp back then? He said proudly raising his head. The effect is not very good. The insider who heard this was at a loss for words. Everyone invariably recalled the teaching content that Wu Jiaowu put together that day. Brother, don't mention it. Sasuke, who had been resting for a long time next to him, held his forehead and thought to himself. Naruto on the other side also rarely made a sound. The blue eyes were suddenly filled with a lot of complicated expressions. Unexpectedly, Mr. Bandage is more narcissistic than himself. By the way, when will it be my turn? Wu Jiaowu asked suspiciously, looking at the electronic screen in front of him. He won't be the last to play. What a hassle. I really want to hurry up and have a rest. Don't want to work at all. Opposite Naruto and the others, they all looked at Wu Jiaowu, who was lazy to ultimate. At this time, the new round of battle list has been freshly released. They are Kazuki and Akamichi Choji, respectively. It's Yu. Wu Jiaowu glanced at the list of candidates announced in front of him and said lightly. He didn't look worried at all. Next, Kazuki and Akita Choji, who came to the arena together, fought. For the ghost lights, Choji's attack did not work at all. The secret ninjutsu passed down from generation to generation by their ghost lamp family can turn the body into a liquid and be immune to physical attacks. So she quickly won the game. And her easy victory instantly aroused heated discussions among those around her. If I remember correctly, this little girl is also a contestant from Sweet Ninja Village. That's right, the ninja who used the ice escape just now are together. They're pretty awesome, and his abilities are special. When did this ability become so widespread? I saw it twice in one day. They have another one who didn't play. You said he would be the best one. At the same time, the disguised Orochimaru also saw this scene. Golden pupils looked at the examination room not far away with interest. The secret hydration technique of the ghost lamp family. Wu Jiaowu is a really interesting team. A small 3-person team actually possessed the cherished secret technique, ice escape and blood following the boundaries at the same time. What a surprise. Everyone has value to be studied. I didn't expect to get so many unexpected rewards this time. Orochimaru in the dark slowly revealed a dangerous smile. On the other side, the examinee's observation point. The examiners present also raised their eyebrows in surprise. Unexpectedly, this team has the limit of ice escape and blood. There are also girls who can perform secret arts. And their level has far surpassed Genin. Is this the strength of the newly established Sweet Ninja Village? It's really amazing. For a while, the examiners and third Hokage focused their attention on this Sweet Ninja Village. The strength of this newly established village cannot be underestimated. Will it have an impact on the tie-up of the 5 ninja villages in the future? Sarutobi Hiruzen thought for a while and shook his head amusingly. Probably not. Just 1 or 2 outstanding children, no matter how talented they are, where can they go? Which village doesn't have a few talented ninjas? But Shinobu Village needs more than a genius or 2. His eyes slowly focused on Wu Jiaowu who was chatting not far away. This ninja is their captain. I don't know if his performance will be so unexpected for a while. Future Wu Jiaowu said. Surprise is unexpected, but it may not be the same as expected. With the end of several battles, Moonlight Blast once again stepped into the examination room to announce the examination list. The next one is Kankuro from Sunagaku and Wu Jiaowu from Sweet Ninja Village. Mr. Bandage, it's your turn. Naruto in the waiting room said in surprise. Yeah, Wu Jiaowu blinked and smiled knowingly. Holding his chin, he walked into the examination room slowly. Geez, it looks like this time will be over soon. At this moment, the candidates at the scene looked curiously at the white-haired boy who walked into the examination room. Wu Jiaowu is such a strange name. Is he also from Sweet Ninja Village? Looks like the captain of a 3-man team. The captain Kayuki and Shiro who fought just now. Their captain. The captain of the 2 ninjas. Then he is more powerful. This side. He doesn't look very good. Yamanaka Ino said puzzledly, looking at Wu Jiaowu who entered the examination room. Unexpectedly, they were on the same team as those 2. And he's still the captain. It's wired. You can't tell the result just by looking at it. Shikamaru shook his head. Genius is not on the face. In any case, the person who can become the captain must have outstanding talent in some aspect. Otherwise, there is no way to convince the public. The hydration technique of Bai Bingyun and Guideng Yu just now is amazing. I don't know what skills he will use. Strange, I don't know why it always feels like they are not ordinary ninjas. Delusion. The other side. It's him, Tamari said earnestly. Is he going to shoot? Gaara also looked over. He was rightly staring at the examination room not far away. This person is probably his biggest opponent in the exam at this time. He must kill the opponent. Gaara secretly exudes a terrifying murderous aura. Temari and Kankuro quickly distanced themselves from Gaara after noticing this. Gaara, he's getting serious, Temari exclaimed. I hope he can control his emotions, otherwise it will be troublesome when it is exposed. Speaking of which, a worried expression appeared on Temari's face. If this goes on, the tailed beast in his body will be very restless. Kankuro looked at Temari's worried expression and changed the subject. I don't know who will be the winner if Gaara and that Wu Jiaowu fight. Temari fell into contemplation for a moment. Although Gaara lost to Wu Jiaowu last time, his real ultimate move has not been used. Wu Jiaowu may not be able to successfully defeat him. Li looked at Wu Jiaowu, who walked into the arena and clenched his fists, his eyes full of fighting spirit. The teammates are so powerful, he must be a strong man, I really want to fight with him. Tian Wenyan carefully observed Wu Jiaowu not far away. She held her chin and sighed. Really, doesn't look like a genius at all. Will it be great? Shouldn't geniuses be like Neji with a straight face all day long and very cold? He looked unusually lazy. There is no motivation at all, will it be great? Tian shook his head and quickly looked back. She thinks differently than others. Although his teammates are brilliant, it does not necessarily mean that he also possesses this kind of strength. Doesn't the Sasuke group still have that kid Naruto? Genius and tailgating may be on the line. Besides, even his teammates couldn't possibly be Neji's opponents. As long as it is ninjutsu, there is a way to crack it, and the white eye can see all the flaws, and its insight even exceeds that of Sharingan. Think confidently every day. Neji on the other side didn't care about his companion's evaluation. He just stood there quietly, looking at possible future opponents. Wu Jiaowu stood in the center of the examination room with his arms folded. His pale blue eyes curled under the bandages. I didn't expect to be able to stand here for exams after so many years, which feels pretty good. He didn't pay attention to the opponent on the opposite side, just quietly immersed in his own thoughts. The whole person looked lazy. And this scene successfully fell into the eyes of the next examiner, Yugong Gale. Moonlight Blast shook his head and sighed silently. I have never seen a player who started to be in a daze as soon as they entered the examination room. This attitude is too childish. Is he really ready for the exam? Or are you just going to quit the game? Judging from his current state, it is impossible to pass this exam. The Sunagaku player on the opposite side will surely not miss this great opportunity. It seems the end is set. Gai Feng looked at the two participating and silently swallowed the words he wanted to blurt out. This is in the exam, no matter what the result is, it is their own choice. As an examiner, he could only watch all this calmly. The situation at the scene was very different from what he expected. The opposing Kankuro did not seize the opportunity to attack immediately. Instead, he looked at Wu Jiaowu, the black-robed boy, with a puzzled expression. He didn't want to fight this guy at all. Not to mention that there is no chance of winning, and there will be no good results in the fight. And he didn't want to reveal too much strength in advance. After all, their main purpose is not for the Chunin exam. For a moment, Kankuro thought a lot in his mind. He watched the examiner Moonlight Blast slowly raise his hand. Examiner, I'm going to give up the game. Kankuro said calmly. The voice fell. The scene suddenly quieted down. All eyes are cast. They are very puzzled about the decision of the Hidden Village Kankuro at this time. He would even choose to give up in the middle of the exam. What do you think? At the last step, he turned his head and gave up. And he didn't grasp the good attacking opportunity just now. What did he think? In the examination room, there was also a trace of doubt and confusion on Yugong Gale's face. He walked between the two and looked at Kankuro aside. Candidate Kankuro, are you sure you want to give up this exam? He asked slowly. I'm sure. Kankuro nodded at the examiner Moonlight Gale. The difference in strength is too much, it is better to choose to give up. I can't beat him anyway. He thought darkly in his eyes. The guy on the opposite side also seems to be hiding his strength. Although I don't know why, it's not an exaggeration to expose him. It's like a reward from the previous exam in the Forest of Death. And there was him in front of him that caught Konoha's gaze. Your actions may be more covert. In an instant, A look of surprise flashed across the examiner's face. Did not expect it to be such a reason. His eyes slowly fell on Wu Jiaowu, who hadn't reacted yet. The opposite Wu Jiaowu quickly noticed the examiner's gaze. He held his chin and looked back innocently. Huh, what's wrong? The dark black robe and his sloppy temperament formed a great contrast. It was hard to figure out what was really going on in his heart. This picture successfully fell into the eyes of the examiner, Yugong Gale. Is this ninja that strong? The candidates on the opposite side even chose to give up. In the Chunin exams over the years, there are very few who choose to give up at this point. Unexpectedly, Sunagaku's ninja made such a decisive decision. It's really weird. There was nothing special about the white-haired boy either. The breath of the whole person is also very peaceful, there is no special murderous aura. Could it be that all this is just a disguise? Moonlight Blast fell into a long thought. At the same time, other examiners were also very surprised. Did you give up the game? How strong was the boy in front of him that Sunagaku's ninja gave up the game? No matter how strong they are, they will never surpass the geniuses of Konoha. As one of the 5 major countries, Konoha village has gathered countless talented and powerful people. The strength that a new shinobi village can possess will not exceed this limit. It seems that this year's Sunagaku's ninjas are not good. Third Hokage, who was standing aside, also saw this scene. He was silent for a moment and asked slowly, has anything special happened in the village recently? I don't know why it always feels like something is wrong. This year's Chunin exam seems to be different from previous years. He had a premonition that the storm was coming. Anbu and the guards have been monitoring all parts of the village and foreign players. Kakashi thought for a while and said, nothing unusual was found. Is that so? Third Hokage sighed and looked back at the exam room. The other side, I didn't expect it to end like this. Orochimaru sneered coldly. It really hurts, I was looking forward to it in vain. However, even if you don't take the preliminaries this time, you won't be able to hold back when the third exam starts. His tongue stretched out, and his eyes gradually became darker. Since he is representing the village, he must want to achieve a good result and make the village famous. Therefore, he will definitely not continue to keep his hands after that, but will try his best to show it to those big names. At that time, he will naturally be able to see his limits. Just a little more patience. But, Orochimaru's eyes suddenly became dangerous and deep. But what a pity. Sure enough, they are not as good as Uchiha Satoru of the year. Neither Wu Jiaowu nor Sasuke was as interesting as Uchiha Wu was back then. At just a few years old, he was able to see the world with Hokage's mind. He was not bound by his identity as a ninja, and regarded himself as a daimyo tool. Instead, you can see the world with a detached eye. Truly a rare genius. It was also inspired by him that he defected to establish the Tonin village. It's just a pity that human life is too fragile and can be easily vanished into nothing. This is one of the reasons why he now wants to seek eternal life. He needs more time to explore the truth. He will never die as easily as he did. At this time Wu Jiaowu didn't know what Orochimaru was thinking. He's also swimming in the joy of bringing some tricolor balls later. He is even more ignorant of the fact that Orochimaru established the Sound Ninja village but put the blame on him. Otherwise, he will definitely scold Orochimaru for touching porcelain. After Moonlight Blast announced the results of the game, he slowly left the examination room and walked towards Naruto and the others leisurely. Gee, not bad. Completely hands-free. Wu Jiaowu thought slowly while holding his chin. Naruto on the opposite side looked at Wu Jiaowu who was walking slowly and scratched his head. The blue eyes were full of regret. I didn't expect Mr. Bandage to be so victorious. Is the Chunin exam so easy? He thought he was going to fight. In the end, there was nothing, and I waited for a long time in vain. Huh, Wu Jiaowu waved his hand and said to Naruto casually. It is not good, it's just the preliminaries, you don't have to be so serious. I'm also trying not to reveal my strength, so I can catch them off guard. The white bandages blocked his long, deep eyes. Now is not the time to expose. Orochimaru is also hiding in Konoha to observe everything in secret. His impure world reincarnation is not so easy to deal with. It is better not to try such a troublesome thing easily. Of course he would never admit that he refused to be in the same frame with the slippery snake. Wu Jiaowu raised the corner of his mouth and thought proudly. Looking at Naruto, who believed in Wu Jiaowu, Sasuke next to him sneered. Idiot, you won't really believe it. He was definitely just being lazy. I just don't want to work. Sasuke ignored Wu Jiaowu's theory. His reason for coming to the game is simple. Just to fight against many strong people, to examine where his strength is. He doesn't care if he can ascend to Chunin. Just being able to get stronger is enough. The sudden arrival of the second brother and his refusal to talk about everything deeply stimulated him. Do you think he is too weak? If it weren't for being too weak to be trusted, he wouldn't be as ignorant as he is now. He wants to become stronger, no matter what means are used. That's very possible. Naruto nodded earnestly. After all, Mr. Bandage is a person who can even cook dark dishes and pretend to be delicious. He only felt this unreliable feeling from the big brother who tricked him into wearing women's clothes before. Naruto also quickly sided with Sasuke. Little Sakura of the three-person team watched as their tacit atmosphere became tangled. She suddenly remembered Kakashi-sensei's order. How to do it. Forgot all before. Forget everyone to keep a distance from Wu Jiaowu. Although after getting along before, it is difficult for her to conspire Wu Jiaowu. But he is a Somura ninja after all. Moreover, Naruto and Sasuke are completely defenseless now. If she is not prepared, if something really happens, I am afraid it will be very dangerous. Little Sakura suddenly felt a heavy responsibility, and her eyes became complicated again. Just when Wu Jiaowu ended the battle and started chatting. Someone on the other side has already started a heated discussion for him to easily enter the decisive circle. It's over like this, Yamanaka Ino exclaimed in disbelief. No information was collected at all. This promotion method is also too much. Shikamaru also looked strangely at Wu Jiaowu, the white boy. It always feels like this guy must be a big trouble. The strength of the three people from Sunagaku should not be underestimated, and it is really surprising that one of them would say such a thing now. But it's also possible that Sand Shinobi said that on purpose. After all, the ninjas who can come to take the exam are very determined. How can they be cowardly because their opponents are too strong? For a while, Shikamaru thought a lot in his heart. Rock Lee was equally surprised. So powerful, Sand Shinobi actually conceded defeat. Lee looked at Wu Jiaowu not far away in surprise. It's great, I just want to fight an enemy like this. Fighting intent was burning behind him, as if the whole person was about to rush out. Lee, Tian looked at him helplessly. Neji next to him also shook his head helplessly. After a long time, Neji's eyes slowly swept across Wu Jiaowu not far away. Is Wu Jiaowu? He remembered the name. He's not the same as Sand Shinobi, who was timid before the battle. At this time, Wu Jiaowu still didn't know what everyone thought of him. He didn't expect that he didn't make a shot in the entire preliminaries, but instead attracted the attention of others for various reasons. When everyone went to watch the game, Wu Jiaowu set up a stall in the corner and used fire style to successfully set up a fire. Fire style, ramen cooks fast and fast. By the way, is this really good? Naruto fell into silence when he saw Wu Jiaowu, who had already started his career in full swing. It doesn't matter, Wu Jiaowu said confidently. I've already set up a barrier around me, and no one will find out. At the same time, Sasuke next to him fell silent. After a long time, he said meaningfully to Wu Jiaowu. Are you referring to the talisman paper where these words are all spelled wrong? At this time, countless yellow rune papers were stuck around the stall. On the talisman paper, the word, enchantment, was written in crappy characters. The yellow paper was swaying in the air with the rising smoke. There is quite a sense of independence. Sasuke's forehead was bulging uncontrollably. Sometimes he really wanted to be born 2 years earlier than Wu Jiaowu, then he would be an older brother and punish his disobedient younger brother. Opening parenthesis. Wu Jiaowu said. That's impossible, even the Itachi guy can't control his galloping pace, and it's even more impossible for others. Especially someone as silly as Sasuke, oh no, sweet kid. Closing parenthesis. After hearing Sasuke's kind reminder, Wu Jiaowu said with a shocked expression. Are all the words wrong? I can't, but I spent a month of a shui's expenses in exchange for it. That priest actually deceived such a devout believer. The corner of Sasuke's mouth twitched uncontrollably. Is that the point of the question? Whether he is religious or not, he really grieves for the man named Shui. 1 month's expenses were actually used by this guy to do this kind of thing. Those wages will be dead ends. Naruto next to the stall overheard their conversation. He looked at Wu Jiaowu with black lines all over his head. You are such a genius. Is there no honorific title? Wu Jiaowu said in surprise. He used to get an honorific title from Naruto, but he doesn't anymore. The world is really difficult, and people's hearts are not ancient. Their conversation did not attract the attention of the people next to them, but the fireworks and smell were quickly detected. What are they doing? Shikamaru said with a black line on his face. That's too blatant. Akamichi Choji covered his stomach with his hands after smelling the smell and looked at the steaming ramen not far away. I'm so hungry, Shikamaru. I don't know if he would mind splitting me up a bit. Choji's words completely left Shikamaru speechless. Forgot, there is also an unreliable one here. At the same time, Tiantian also saw rising smoke and bonfires. Ah, Tian said hesitantly. Is there really no problem with this? What is this for? Li looked at the scene in front of him and fell into deep thought. Is there any purpose in doing this? Suddenly, a warm flame seemed to rise behind him, and he said suddenly. I know that this is also a practice. Eat ramen under the watchful eyes of many examiners and Hokage-sama. It's a really challenging and tough challenge. Quote. Hearing this, Neji looked at his teammate Li speechlessly. As for Gaara, their reactions were surprisingly consistent. If they do this, Konoha's examiner doesn't care about it. On the other side, the examiner gathers. To be honest, they had already discovered what Wu Jiaowu had done. However, there is no precedent for such a thing before. For a while, they didn't know how to deal with it. And that white-haired boy isn't from Konoha, and third Hokage didn't say anything, so. Forget it, as long as it doesn't affect the normal progress of the preliminaries, let's do this for now. Third Hokage shook his head. As soon as the screen changed, Wu Jiaowu was here. By the way, Mr. Bandage, can the ramen you made be eaten by humans? Naruto asked hesitantly, smelling the fragrant smell. Wu Jiaowu stared at the ramen in the pot earnestly for a long time. He didn't know if he could eat it or not. After all, this is also his first time cooking, and there is no precedent that can be used as a reference. Wu Jiaowu held his chin in silence for a moment. His eyes moved slowly from Sasuke, Naruto, and finally to the other candidates. After a long time, he said solemnly. Of course there is no problem, you can rest assured about my cooking skills. And you smell this ramen, what do you think it can be weird? Wu Jiaowu confidently looked at Naruto and Sasuke on the opposite side. The whole person looks extraordinarily magnanimous and calm. Naruto and Sasuke on the opposite side looked at the confident Wu Jiaowu and complained silently. It's your cooking skills that make you feel uneasy. But it does look like it tastes good. For a while, they were a little hesitant. Wu Jiaowu's eyes slightly curved under the bandages. He said calmly, everyone has been competing for so long, why don't you take it and share it together? For a split second, both Naruto and Sasuke felt their consciences aching. Have you wronged him? What he said this time should be true. At this moment, Wu Jiaowu unexpectedly handed them the food one by one. A bright smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Ah, how witty I am. Sasuke and Naruto believed Wu Jiaowu's nonsense, and after dividing up all the ramen, they brought their own bowl. It looks good. Naruto's eyes lit up and he picked up his chopsticks. I'm gonna start now. He started eating this bowl of ramen with anticipation. Sizzle, cough, cough, vomit. As soon as the food came in, he felt bad for a while. What kind of weird smell is this? How much do you love sweets, Mr. Bandage? Can this food be sweetened? Naruto instantly turned into a background board and fell to the ground. In the same situation as him, there is Sasuke next to him who has not said a word. Is it really that bad? Wu Jiaowu carefully checked the contents of the pot and various seasonings. It's obviously made according to the recipe, how can it be? He held his chin and thought about it carefully. What went wrong? Suddenly he found the salt bag that was almost empty on the table. Ah, this. He picked it up slowly. Suddenly, a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. Why does this look like candy? Could it be that he packed the wrong bag earlier? It is indeed possible. At that time he Wu Jiaowu stood there for a while. Soon, he came back to his senses and looked at the other seasoning bags. Ha, it's not wonderful. It's all wrong. At this moment, his pale blue eyes flashed a rare trace of confusion. At the same time, other candidates who were not vigilant were also brutally murdered. What kind of devil's taste is this? Choji, who has never been very picky about food, exclaimed. I suspect this is a conspiracy. Shikamaru, who did not expect that someone dared to commit the crime against the wind, was silently regretting the vigilance he had just lost. I seemed to see heaven in an instant. Lee, who was swaying, almost stumbled and fell into the examination room below. Luckily he was saved by Neji, who was very reliable and also wobbly. And their companion Tien was already prostrate on the ground at this moment, unconscious. As for Sunagaku's Gaara trio, they didn't escape the tea poison of dark cooking. Could it be that their plan to subvert Konoha was discovered? Konoha's people are going to secretly deal with them in advance. Kankuro thought bitterly, using the last bit of clarity in his brain. At this time, Gaara felt that the show crane in his body suddenly lost consciousness. As for the others, they were also put down one by this dark dish. On the other side, the examiner gathers. The examiners watched in astonishment at what was happening over the candidate's side. Could it be that Sweet Ninja Village and the others are planning to launch an attack and deliberately poison them? In an instant, this absurd thought flashed through the examiner's mind. But soon they overthrew them one by one with their own reason. Third Hokage shook his head and looked suspiciously at them not far away. The physical fitness of today's candidates is also too tough. How bad is it to make them like this? As for poisoning, Third Hokage said, it's impossible. No one has dared to mess around with Konoha. This side. After little Sakura and Ino fought, they walked out of the examination room together. What's going on? What the hell happened? The two looked at everything in front of them in shock. What's wrong with them? Why do you look like you are dying? The two who managed to escape the catastrophe still don't know what happened to them. After a long time, the exam resumed. Wu Jiaowu and Sasuke found a vantage point to watch the match between Naruto and Inuzuka. Naruto and Ya are fighting fiercely in the exam room. Naruto was easily knocked to the ground by Inuzuka Ya soon. Inuzuka Ya turned his head to look at Moonlight Gale, who was on the side and said, I guess I won't be able to wake up for the time being, Mr. Examiner. There was a proud smile on his lips. At the same time, the students at the scene were talking about it. Sure enough, Shikamaru shook his head and looked towards the playing field. That Naruto can't be a match for teeth, Ino said firmly. Naruto, it's a shame. Lee's eyes were fixed on Naruto. So this guy is so weak. Kankuro also echoed. Wu Jiaowu held his chin and smiled. Not necessarily so. Naruto is more than that. I bet it's Naruto winning this one. He said quite confidently. Even if you say that, he can't win. Ino strongly disagrees with Wu Jiaowu's opinion. She knows the strength of the teeth better than anyone else. I admit that he is tenacious, but the gap is too big. Shikamaru shook his head and looked at Wu Jiaowu. He also saw Naruto's never give up spirit, but the gap in strength was too great, and it couldn't be changed by his will. Others also agreed with Shikamaru. They also don't think Naruto will win. This is a very obvious thing. Wu Jiaowu, who was on the opposite side, bent his eyes when he heard the words, and he said provocatively. Well, let's make a bet. Just bet on who of them will emerge victorious today. The loser needs to agree to a condition for winning. Dare you? Why agree to such a troublesome bet? Shikamaru rejected his suggestion without being fooled. He wouldn't do such a troublesome thing. Wu Jiaowu was not in a hurry. He turned and added a few words. Don't you want to take revenge for the ramen just now? Why don't you dare? I made that bowl of ramen. It tastes good. As soon as the voice fell, the effect was outstanding. In an instant, the eyes of all the candidates changed. It was you who was the culprit. All of a sudden, the smell of the devil resounded again. Just terrifying. Everyone's eyes changed drastically. Wu Jiaowu, very good, you wait for me. They unanimously agreed to Wu Jiaowu's bet. Even Shikamaru, who had always been very calm, forgot his vigilance for a moment and agreed. The opposite Wu Jiaowu quietly showed a satisfied smile. Get it done. And Sasuke and little Sakura, who are familiar with his character, are thankful that they were not deceived this time. According to Wu Jiaowu's character, this bet is not easy to achieve. After the betting contract was made, everyone paid close attention to the game and returned to the scene. At this moment, Naruto suddenly stood up again. Don't underestimate me, he shouted. It's already bleeding, so what are you trying to do? Inuzuka said helplessly. Then he may not be merciful. I did it to you on purpose to see your strength. Naruto ignored his words and said disdainfully. Don't be brave, send your dog. Don't regret it. Inuzuka-ya's expression became solemn. Go on, Akamaru. They fought fiercely with each other. After a long time, Inuzuka's face froze, and then he filled his body with chakra and attacked Naruto like a beast. Tooth and teeth. In an instant, Inuzuka-ya knocked Naruto to the ground again. That's the difference in strength. He looked at Naruto, who fell to the ground, and said slowly. Is this over? The candidates present did not know whether to be happy with the victory of the bet or to sigh for Naruto. For a while, the mood was intricate and indescribable. Wu Jiaowu stood by and watched the battle between the two calmly. There was no worry in his expression. Regardless of the protagonist's power of the book bonus, Naruto's huge potential and learning ability can be seen from the progress of Naruto these days. He will not lose this battle. So betting on yourself seems to be a safe bet. Sounds pretty good. A faint smile flashed across Wu Jiaowu's blue eyes under the bandages. This doesn't count as cheating. He pledged in the name of thousands of readers of the original. He is really a good and honest man. At this time, the situation in the examination room was beyond many people's expectations. With blood on his forehead and falling to the ground, Naruto murmured. I'm going to be the Hokage guy. Never fall here. His fingers also tried to start to retract, as if struggling hard. Inuzuka-ya shook his head amusedly when he heard his words. You became Hokage. Obviously weaker than me. If you want to be Hokage, let me be. Hokage is not something ordinary people can do. This kid has a big voice. Let yourself wake him up now. Lest this guy have unreachable dreams all day long. Suddenly, Naruto stood up again. If you rob me of Hokage's name, you'll be a bereavement dog. Then they fought again. The fighting time was so long that the onlookers were a little powerless to watch. Whoever it is, hurry up and choose a winner. Yeah. The battle on the field is still fermenting. Multiple shadow clone. Naruto yelled, his azure blue eyes brightening. Countless shadow clones swarmed up and surrounded Inuzuka-ya. In the end, Inuzuka tooth fell heavily to the ground, and there was no movement. Inuzuka lost. Ino said in surprise. I didn't expect to be mentioned by the white-haired boy. That crane tail car turned against the wind and won the game. This is simply incredible. How did he guess it? And the bet just now. Wu Jiaowu held his chin and looked at everyone's shocked expressions at the moment. The pale blue eyes also curled up in a playful manner. Are you so surprised? Should be fine. Didn't ninjas have long ago cultivated a strong inner existence? The candidates on the opposite side couldn't help grinding their teeth when they saw his puzzled expression. Really thought they were just shocked that Naruto won. It was clearly because he was shaken by the memory of that bet. I don't know what he will ask for. Speaking of which, why did they start a bet with the ninjas in Somura? Especially this very strange-looking boy. If it weren't for his young age and lack of strength, and his body was exceptionally clean, they would have thought it was an S-rank betrayal just by virtue of this outfit. An ominous black robe is placed on the body, and a pale bandage is wrapped around the face. What kind of perfect aesthetic can this be achieved? Wu Jiaowu cleared his throat, and a bright smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. If I remember correctly, we made a bet just now, didn't we? Everyone touched their hair and nodded reluctantly. Why did they agree so easily in the first place? Is it because of this guy's evil? Go ahead. Rock Lee raised his arms and said warmly. Since I promised, I will do it. This is the promise of youth. He stared at Wu Jiaowu opposite him. The others followed his gaze and looked at Wu Jiaowu, who had been waiting for a while. I don't know what will happen to this kid. Wu Jiaowu raised the corner of his mouth slightly and said with a smile. I haven't made up my mind yet. I will find you when the exam is over. Looking at his relaxed and happy attitude, everyone felt a chill behind their backs. It always feels like something is wrong. But they also don't have time to stop at this moment because the game continues quickly. A new round of battle began in the examination room. Wu Jiaowu held his chin and watched for a while, then set his eyes on the surroundings of the examination room. Strangely, Orochimaru, disguised as a ninja, disappeared without a trace. What did he do? Wu Jiaowu's eyes became long and far-reaching, and he silently pondered the future plan. Dealing with Orochimaru wasn't his last goal either. Without this Orochimaru, other people would come and covet Uchiha's Sharingan. So this time Konoha's plan really wasn't to defeat Orochimaru. He just wanted to come over to see Sasuke and ask Konoha to explain to Uchiha. By the way, are you ready to unite with others to exterminate Uchiha? This will not work. The reasons for the conflict are not just unilateral. Konoha, especially Danzo, also have an inescapable responsibility. I just want to get rid of the Uchiha clan without getting into the purpose behind it. Even he would be angry at this greedy way to save trouble. Wu Jiaowu's eyes became deeper and deeper. Orochimaru Konoha crash plan. This is indeed a good opportunity for him. At the same time, while they were having a vigorous Chunin preliminaries exam, there is a special conversation going on the other side of Konoha. Orochimaru stood at one end of the corridor, and at the other end of the corridor was Yakushi Kabuto, who had previously retired. This is the preliminaries for the third test, and it should be the official match soon. Yakushi Kabuto slowly looked at Orochimaru, who was facing him. By that time, he will almost have a shot. Opposite Orochimaru, leaning on the wooden pillar with his arms folded, he said in a light tone. But it's really quiet. No, this country has really become peaceful. Other countries are busy building up their armaments. If it goes on like this, maybe it will be involved in the war, and in the end there will be nothing left. Really interesting. I should be able to capture it now. Yakushi Kabuto said meaningfully. Yeah, although I don't know if it's interesting to take that old man's head. Orochimaru turned his head to look into the distance, his eyes gradually deepening. Really? Yakushi Kabuto's metal-framed eyes gleamed slightly. I think you're still hesitating. The power of each ninja village will collide with each other for a long time and fiercely. The sound of ninja village is also one of them. You want to be that fuse. And he's your ammunition for that. Yakushi Kabuto raised his eyes and looked at Orochimaru, who was silent next to him. His name is Uchiha Sasuke. As for the other ninja, Wu Jiaowu, he is out of your plan. Although Orochimaru later told himself to stare at Wu Jiaowu, he was not in Orochimaru's plan. It must be just a more interesting child that I met by chance. Orochimaru probably didn't anticipate his presence in advance. What really matters now is Uchiha Sasuke. You've seen so thoroughly, it makes me feel a little unhappy. Orochimaru said coldly, a unique light flashing in his eyes. Where is it? Yakushi Kabuto smiled humbly, but his voice was a little cold and distant. I don't know about Sak and Kim. You overestimate me. It seems that you haven't fully trusted me yet. Orochimaru on the other side didn't care about it, he said indifferently. I don't think there's any need to tell you about people like them. Who is my right-hand man? This is proof that I trust you. So, I'll leave it to you about Sasuke. I think you brought him before the darkness inside him had dissipated. It's not like you, I'm in a hurry. Yakushi Kabuto said slowly. Quote. Because there is something that bothers me a bit. Orochimaru said inexplicably. Is it Wu Jiaowu? Yakushi Kabuto asked after pondering for a while. Orochimaru's eyes on the opposite side suddenly sank. Really sharp. Yakushi Kabuto. He slowly raised his head to look at Yakushi Kabuto in front of him. Sasuke is an avenger born to bring down his brother Itachi. Won't die until it's done. But when he played with me, he shook that belief. He knew that he couldn't beat me, and he was ready to rush up and fight hard. I thought he was someone who didn't want to die. But according to your information, it seems that Sasuke's purpose and heart changed after he contacted the boy from Wu Jiaowu. He had so much influence on Sasuke that they had to be separated sooner. Let Sasuke accept my influence early. Or you brought them both together. The opposite Yakushi Kabuto was taken aback when he heard the words. He didn't expect to get such an answer. Bring together. Following Orochimaru's usual practice, he would not agree to this solution. Is it okay? Since Wu Jiaowu can influence the plan Sasuke, He is an existence that needs to be avoided or eliminated. Now Orochimaru actually tolerated the existence of Wu Jiaowu. How optimistic he is about this ninja. Maybe you can go watch him again. Yakushi Kabuto thought silently. After a long time, he was about to turn around and leave the place. At this moment, Orochimaru's voice suddenly sounded. Then, Kabuto, if you want to stop me, you can only kill Sasuke now. You can't kill me, even if you're great, that's the level of Kakashi. At the same time, a drop of cold sweat quietly dripped from Yakushi Kabuto's forehead, and his footsteps stopped. What does it mean? Does he doubt himself? Or do you see your inner turmoil? Orochimaru carefully observed Yakushi Kabuto, who had an inexplicable look in front of him. What does this expression mean? Finally he spoke slowly. Just kidding, okay, let's go. I trust you very much. Chapter 91. Konoha, Chunin Competition Examination Room. Soon all the games officially came to an end. There are 12 people who successfully passed the preliminaries, respectively. Konoha's Uchiha Sasuke, Nara Shikamaru, Vortex Naruto, Hyuga Neji, Gaara, Temari of Sunagakur, Toth, Ken Maikong, and Sak of Sound Ninja Village. There are also Wu Jiaowu, Ghost Lantern Wyu, and Bai from Tianren Village. After the game, third Hokage slowly walked in front of the crowd. The red Hokage robe gleamed in the sun. He looked up at the candidates who passed the preliminaries. The official game will start in a month. When the time comes, everyone's battle will be shown to the audience. I hope you, as representatives of your respective countries, will show your strengths without regrets. Wu Jiaowu looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen and breathed quietly. Can this guy still say that? At first glance, it is a profound skill in promoting Amway. Speaking of which, if it's a knockout match, only one person will win in the end, right? Wu Jiaowu blinked his blue eyes and raised his arms as if doing something. In other words, is there only one person who can become Chunin? The other candidates were shocked when they heard the words, and they all started to discuss. Only one person, so cruel. Crystal, third Hokage, heard the words and looked at Wu Jiaowu on the opposite side. A strange look crossed his face. How does it feel that this ninja from Sweet Ninja Village is unexpectedly familiar? Have they met? Sarutobi Hiruzen paused for a few seconds before replying in a low voice. No, this exam has examiners including me. And Kawokage to watch with the daimyo and ninja leaders of various countries who have entrusted us. The censors will give you an evaluation by watching the knockout games. A person who is considered to have sufficient Chunin qualifications can become a Chunin even if he loses in the first round. Understood. Wu Jiaowu of Sweet Endurance Village. Wu Jiaowu folded his hands and nodded knowingly. Understood. Isn't this a reality show? Then see who can get more likes from the judges and get the promotion card. Wu Jiaowu crossed Chunin's exam with a serious face. No, he's not relying on a person who sells face circle fans, and he doesn't do this kind of thing. Not long after the preliminaries, Naruto and Sasuke dragged Wu Jiaowu to special training. Do you need special training to see how I look? Wu Jiaowu said slowly in the name of Heish. I asked you to give a special training. Sasuke said coldly. Wu Jiaowu looked at Naruto and Sasuke in front of him, a hint of helplessness flashed in his eyes. Unexpectedly, after the last lesson, they still want to come to find themselves. This is completely unscientific. Are you sure? He said slowly. Don't think about it. Wu Jiaowu looked at Naruto and Sasuke, who nodded again and again with a headache. These two people even have different attributes, which is really troublesome. Okay, Wu Jiaowu said with a smile. Then don't regret it. His training is not something ordinary people can enjoy. It takes a determination to die to achieve it. Ah, Mr. Bandage, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? Sasuke and Naruto successfully landed from midair. They looked at Wu Jiaowu on the opposite side in confusion. Hey, what are you doing? Sasuke looked at his second brother with a frown. Why did he suddenly do this? Wu Jiaowu stroked the bandage on his arm and looked at them with a smile. The black robe blocked a lot of sunlight, and the side of the cheek fell into the shadows, abruptly giving people a little unpleasantness. Naturally, at your invitation, I have given you special training. Now, run. Don't get caught by me until this sorbet melts. He took out a sorbet out of nowhere, and said to the two of Sasuke with a smile on the corner of his mouth. "Oh, by the way, the loser just hang it at the gate of the women's hot spring for people to look at. Isn't it kind?" Wu Jiaowu's back seemed to be engulfed by black fog, causing Naruto to take 2 steps back involuntarily. "What the hell, why are you doing this?" Naruto asked in shock. "They are training, why are they doing this?" Sasuke next to him also tightly pursed the corners of his mouth and said coldly. "Hey, what kind of punishment is this? Brother, what have you learned over the years? Isn't he kidding?" Sasuke slowly shifted his gaze to Wu Jiaowu, who was facing him. Wu Jiaowu, who looked extraordinarily friendly, quickly caught his eye. Oops, he forgot his second brother's extremely bad character. This guy can do absolutely anything. What he said was serious. "Hurry up, I'll give you the time to count 100. Wu Jiaowu said in a relaxed tone. "Don't make it too easy for me to catch. Otherwise it would be too boring." Hearing this, Sasuke's eyes widened and Naruto next to him started to leave quickly. "Hey man, what are you doing in such a hurry?" Naruto staggered and ran forward after Sasuke. As for the hurry, I didn't see how flustered he was when fighting with Yinren before. "What is it today?" Sasuke at this time said coldly while patrolling around. "Idiot, if you don't want to really get hung up, just keep up with it." "Hey, is it that serious?" Naruto still looked out of condition. "Aren't you kidding?" Sasuke glanced at Naruto with disgust, then continued to remind kindly. "Wu Jiaowu, he is serious. If you are caught, you will really be hanged at the door of the women's hot spring." At that time, the guy may still be sneering and commenting on the side. "He absolutely can do this kind of thing. How did you meet such an unreliable second brother?" "Just a headache." He raised his head to support his forehead, thinking in distress. "Hey, it turned out to be serious." Naruto's eyes widened, and his tone was full of wonder. "Is there really no mistake?" he asked without giving up. "Why don't you take the lead and try to see if it's true?" Sasuke sneered coldly. Naruto shook his head and gave up the questioning, and he followed Sasuke to the distance. Even he didn't want to try this kind of punishment. He just wants to be remembered by being Hokage, he doesn't want to be pervert Konoha at all. Absolutely, don't get caught." On this side, Wu Jiaowu was still counting down silently. 51, 52, 99,100. "Okay, 100 numbers are counted," he said solemnly, not feeling anything wrong at all. "It's time to start looking for them." The corner of Wu Jiaowu's mouth slightly raised a nice arc. He gently jumped up and stood on the eaves, his blue eyes swept lightly around. "Here it is. It's pretty good at hiding." At this time, Sasuke and Naruto were hiding on the most crowded streets. "Is this place really safe?" Naruto asked suspiciously. "There doesn't seem to be anything special here. It's just a little more snack bar and entertainment venue." "Why are you hiding here?" Sasuke whispered after observing the surrounding crowd with Sharingan. "There are many people here, which is very good for hiding your figure. We are hiding in the crowd, and he may not find us so easily." Naruto also observed the surrounding scenery. Suddenly, with a tangled look on his face, he opened his mouth hesitantly. "But anyway, that women's hot spring is nearby. Are they really good at doing this?" At this time, Sasuke was leaning against the side of the wall, and his blue clan uniform was stained with a little dust from the run just now. He pondered for a while and said slowly, "The most dangerous place is the safest place. Maybe he didn't expect us to be here. And here." Having said this, he paused for a moment and fell into contemplation. Naruto next to him soon noticed Sasuke's absence. And what? Suddenly, a familiar voice synchronized with Naruto's heart sound at this time, and it rang from behind. Naruto and Sasuke froze immediately, and their backs began to take cold air. "No way, catch up so quickly." They all retreated forward in unison, and when they looked back, they saw Wu Jiaowu's sloppy figure. "Hi." Wu Jiaowu smiled lightly and simply greeted them. "Are you that scary?" He appeared in front of the two of them with ease, and successfully blocked their only path. "What are you doing running so fast?" He looked at the two with a smile. Her white hair gleamed in the sun. "Looks like it can only be." Naruto and Sasuke looked at each other and quickly made up their minds. "Seems like it can only be pushed hard." Multiple shadow clone. Naruto casts his ninjutsu to instantly create countless shadow clone. The two of them soon succeeded in hiding in Naruto's avatar. So surely Mr. Bandage can't tell where they are, Naruto thought confidently. Sasuke, who was hiding next to him, also gave him an admiring look. Not bad, lift truck. Even the second brother couldn't catch them. The corner of Wu Jiaowu's mouth on the opposite side drew a bright smile. Pale blue eyes under the bandages have seen everything. Well, I don't know if this counts as cheating. Everything is clear anyway. Since that's the case, I'll start, he said lightly. In an instant, countless shuriken attacked the two of them. He can't be serious, can he? A flash of surprise flashed in Naruto and Sasuke's eyes. Don't you worry about accidentally hurting them. Seeing Wu Jiaowu with a comfortable expression in front of them, the two of them suddenly felt bad. Bang bang bang. In an instant, all the clones disappeared quickly. Wu Jiaowu's figure was also getting closer and closer to them. There's no other way, it looks like I can only resort to the last resort, Sasuke said to Naruto in a low voice. Better get ready later. Naruto's azure blue eyes looked suspiciously. Sasuke, what are you going to do? Is the last move his nirvana? Sasuke's blue suit swayed in the air. He quickly attacked Wu Jiaowu, and threw the thing hidden in his right hand. Brush. A string of three-color balls crossed the sky and was about to fall far ahead. A black figure followed in pursuit. Naruto looked at the scene in front of him and fell silent. Ah, is it such a trick? And it even succeeded. He froze there and said incredulously. Sasuke next to him tilted his head slightly. He said helplessly. There is no way. Who told him to only eat this set? Come on, this trick can only be used once. When Naruto heard the words, he quickly followed in his footsteps. However, Wu Jiaowu's stable image completely collapsed in his heart. His heart was full of shock, and he couldn't calm down for a long time. This side, Wu Jiaowu raised his head slowly and looked at Naruto and Sasuke, who were only left behind. The pale blue eyes flashed with shock. Didn't expect them to make this move. To tempt him with food. It's so terrifying. However, he relied on Shisui's purse as a guarantee. He will never be fooled again, Wu Jiaowu thought with a serious and firm expression on his chin. Then he jumped up and disappeared in place in an instant. Wait, I'm coming to catch someone. Soon after, Wu Jiaowu successfully captured Naruto and Sasuke, who were fleeing. Mr. Bandage, you wouldn't be serious, would you? Hey, fool, let me down. The two were held down by the throat of fate by Wu Jiaowu, and dragged them to the hot spring. Wu Jiaowu looked at Naruto and Sasuke in front of him, and a smile flashed in his eyes. He shook his white hair and said in a serious tone. Of course, we made an agreement. Naturally you can't miss the appointment. As soon as the voice fell, the two people next to him immediately had different opinions. Who made an appointment with you? They said loudly in unison. You are clearly talking to yourself. They never promised. Huh, is that so? Wu Jiaowu began to think hard. Why not? The dispute between the three at the gate of the hot spring soon attracted the onlookers of passers-by. What are they doing? A fight? It doesn't seem like it. Have fun. At the same time, not long after returning to Konoha, Jiraiya, who came to look for materials, also quickly noticed the movement here. Did something happen over there? Why so many people? Jiraiya was stunned when she saw the words of the women's hot spring room. He held his chin and thought to himself. Did someone get caught flirting with a beautiful woman? I didn't expect someone to think about it with me. With a strange smile on Jiraiya's face, he is ready to save the beauty from the past. It seems that today's luck is really good. Maybe you will meet a beautiful woman and promise her. His smile didn't last long, and suddenly it froze on his face. His eyes gradually became darker, not as normal as usual. This is Minato's child, Uzumaki Naruto. The other seems to be a child of the Uchiha family. What are they doing? How do you keep chasing ninjas from other countries? And it looks like a good relationship. Then his eyes slowly fell on Wu Jiaowu in black robe. Strangeness. This black robe is somewhat similar to those of those guys. Is this a coincidence? Or what are they related to? Thinking of this, Jiraiya's expression suddenly became condensed. Looks like it still needs to be inspected. The current Konoha is also really big-hearted, so he put the human column and the outer ninja together. Jiraiya shook her head secretly and walked near Wu Jiaowu. What are you doing? He said righteously. It's immoral to peek at a beauty taking a bath. The whole person seemed very righteous and awe-inspiring. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Hearing his voice, the three of them gave up the conversation just now and turned around. Isn't this Jiraiya, one of Konoha Sanin's? Has he returned to Konoha? Looking at Jiraiya's distinctive logo, Wu Jiaowu instantly recognized his identity. What is he doing here? Wu Jiaowu shook his head, not believing it was just a coincidence. Could it be that he recognized Naruto, saw himself again, and wanted to find out? He pondered for a moment and instantly guessed Jiraiya's intentions. He came just in time, and he had another reason to miss the appointment. The corner of Wu Jiaowu's mouth raised a malicious smile. Strange uncle, we didn't do such a strange thing. Naruto retorted loudly. Who would do such a thing? On the contrary, this strange uncle looks very likely. Naruto looked at Jiraiya suspiciously and thought to himself. Sasuke on the side also saw the uninvited ninja. He had an inexplicable feeling that something was wrong. It always felt like he was here on purpose for them. Hey, who are you? He asked coldly. His eyes were equally cold. Jiraiya looked at the vigilant eyes of the two and smiled approvingly in her heart. He cleared his throat and opened his mouth slowly. Actually, I'm a novelist who travels the world. I happened to be here, and I saw that you didn't know what to do near the women's hot spring, so. He made a random excuse to fool around. Just as he was introducing his intentions, Wu Jiaowu's gaze had moved from the women's hot spring room not far away to the men's hot spring room beside him. The corners of his mouth curved slightly, and a strange smile flashed in his eyes. He seemed to be talking about looking at beautiful women just now, didn't he? Then go with him. In an instant, a loud voice resounded here. Hey, you misunderstood. We only plan to go to the women's hot spring, and we don't plan to peek at the men's hot spring like you. This is not our style. Luo. As soon as these words came out, the scene was quiet. This sentence not only attracted the attention of passers-by, but even the ninjas in the hot spring listened to it. The face of the ninja in the hot spring suddenly became strange. In the end, who is so pervert, even men are not spared. They got up and started to prepare the guy. The other side. Those passers-by also looked at the four people in front of them with amazement. Good guy, peeping said so above board. It's really downhill, and people's hearts are not ancient. By the way, which one is the warrior who threatened to see the men's hot spring? Their eyes slowly fell on the oldest Jiraiya. According to the conversation just now, this person should be correct. As for the teenagers next to them, they were hurriedly skipped. It's normal to be a child after all. Men's hot spring. I didn't expect this person to have a very unique taste. Pervert. Why haven't the people from the security office come and quickly deal with the suspicious elements? People are pretty good now. Feeling everyone's gaze, Naruto and Sasuke froze in place. Their pupils looked at Wu Jiaowu next to them in shock. Mr. Bandage, don't talk nonsense. Naruto quickly grabbed Wu Jiaowu next to him. His image was completely gone after a while. He won't hang on Konoha's pillar of shame forever. In an instant, Naruto's mind imagined countless terrifying images. Hey, what are you talking about? Sasuke said through gritted teeth. What the hell is second fool doing? The glory of the Uchiha clan will not be ruined in their own hands. There was a similar collapse on their faces. At this time, Wu Jiaowu was exceptionally calm. He stood at the door of the hot spring with a magnanimous face, and a bright smile was drawn on the corner of his mouth. There is no embarrassment of being the protagonist of the topic at all. It's the bandage freak that is being called, and it's not him. Why should he feel embarrassed? Wu Jiaowu thought without conscience. Jiraiya on the opposite side fell silent. After a long time, he suddenly said, Hey, what are you talking about, kid? He looked at Wu Jiaowu, who had an innocent face opposite him, with a shocked expression. The expression on his face also went blank for a moment. What is this guy talking nonsense about? It's too out of line to play cards. Jiraiya, who was planning to strike first, really didn't expect to be attacked later. What's wrong with young people today? Why is it like this? Jiraiya, who had never seen such a person, was speechless for a while. The fists also seemed to be starting to itch. At the beginning, He planned to investigate the information first, and it would be good if he could test out his strength. But now he really wants to do it. He had never felt so stumped before. Very well, boy, I remember you. Jiraiya looked at Wu Jiaowu on the opposite side with numb eyes. You boy, it's fine. He had never seen such an unexpected ninja. The level of stubbornness is even better than that of him back then. After all, it was Jiraiya, one of the Konoha Sanins, and he quickly regained his composure and smiled again. This criticism was nothing to him at all. He was only surprised by Wu Jiaowu's sudden move. Jiraiya's eyes became strangely calm, and her pale hair fluttered in the wind. Well, take this opportunity to see the strength of this young man. Then analyze his path. Every ninja move will reveal a lot of information unconsciously. Jiraiya soon made plans. His right hand attacked Wu Jiaowu as fast as lightning. Wu Jiaowu blinked and looked at Jiraiya opposite with a puzzled look on his face. I don't seem to have said anything. He just accidentally exposed his hobbies. It's too stingy to say a word and do it. Wu Jiaowu shook his head, helplessly dodging 443, and opened Jiraiya's attack. A look of surprise flashed across Jiraiya's eyes. Unexpectedly, this ninja is young, and his physical skills are not bad. The response is very timely. At the same time, Naruto and Sasuke, who had just recovered, were stunned again. What happened? Does this kick in? Should we stop it? Naruto asked hesitantly. Will it be okay to fight like this? Sasuke shook his head quickly, he said with a slight smile. Need not. Here is Konoha, nothing will happen. Besides, you forgot what that guy was going to do. The second brother also deserves a beating. Do you see him still teasing people in the future? Sasuke was relieved to stand by and watch the battle between the two. As he said, here is Konoha, there won't be much problem. When Naruto heard Sasuke's words, he quickly stopped speaking. Indeed, that guy deserves a good lesson. Trick them every time. His eyes refocused on Wu Jiaowu and Jiraiya. Amazing, Naruto exclaimed after a while. I didn't expect that strange uncle to be so good. Sasuke next to him also nodded, his eyes flashing a hint of shock. It's really amazing, and it feels like he's not taking it seriously at all. The movements are smooth and easy to use, and the physical skills can be seen as a must. Second brother, I won't really be beaten this time. With the continuous battle with Wu Jiaowu, Jiraiya's expression gradually began to be shocked. Didn't expect this white-haired boy to be so powerful. How can you take him so many tricks? Really good for this age. The opposite Wu Jiaowu dodged Jiraiya's attack again. He blinked his eyes innocently. Strange, why are you so angry? I don't seem to have done anything. Uncle, you have a really bad temper. Question mark, question mark, question mark. At this time, Jiraiya laughed angrily by Wu Jiaowu. He was actually too embarrassed to slap it. However, it does not seem like the group of people he investigated in terms of acting style. Jiraiya's vigilance dropped slightly. Which ninja from which ninja village is he? In terms of tricks, he did not find any favorable clues. It uses completely basic physical skills, and there is nothing special about it. Is he doing it on purpose or is that all there is to it? Being able to evade his own attacks with only basic physical skills, his fighting consciousness is really good. The corners of Jiraiya's mouth raised a hint of admiration. Wu Jiaowu jumped to the roof, dodging Jiraiya's attack smoothly. The blue eyes flashed a little light, he said slowly. Is it because I interrupted your plans? Would you like to make up for it? He pondered for a while, then set his eyes on the hot springs not far away. Sweep sweep. Countless detonating talismans attacked the nearby hot spring pavilion. What are you doing? Jiraiya widened her eyes and looked at Wu Jiaowu in astonishment. He didn't expect Wu Jiaowu to take action as soon as it came out, so he didn't have time to stop it. What is this guy trying to do? Looking at the men's hot spring pavilion not far away, he felt uneasy, and there was a hint of coolness behind him. In an instant, a violent explosion sounded suddenly. Boom boom boom. The wooden buildings collapsed suddenly, and countless ninjas were revealed in front of everyone. With dark faces, they looked at Jiraiya who was standing right in front of them. The murderous aura also instantly radiated from these ninjas. These people are ninjas who have experienced many battles and are of extraordinary strength. Naturally, the conversation between Wu Jiaowu and Jiraiya was also heard by them. They had planned to come out and pack their clothes, but they didn't expect it to happen so quickly. Silence, silence. The air at this time was extremely silent, as if the entire time had been frozen. Their eyes fell on the mastermind, Jiraiya. As for the accomplice Wu Jiaowu, they were ignored for the time being. Asking a young man to help him blow up the hot springs is for such a heinous thing. Is this a loss of morality or a distortion of human nature? It's a heinous crime. Let them teach him the truth, goodness and beauty of the world. Countless ninjas looked at Jiraiya, who was stunned opposite. The rich and deep eyes pressed heavily on Jiraiya's body. This is really none of my business," Jiraiya said, suddenly at a loss. It was the first time he felt so speechless and distraught. Faced with so many elite ninjas, even he will feel very difficult. Suddenly, he fell into the most critical moment in his life. Not even the brutal wars of the past could do that. He. It's so irresponsible, and you push your own affairs to others. It's just too shameless to be a ninja. Too pervert. Let me teach you how to be a human being. In an instant, countless ninjas rushed out of their nests and rushed towards Jiraiya on the opposite side. I'm really innocent, Jiraiya shouted loudly. Then in an instant, he ran to the other end of the road at the speed of light. All that was left was his remnant of his back, and silence. Don't run. Stop for me, boy. Don't let me catch you. Seeing countless ninjas chasing behind a red figure, Wu Jiaowu thought calmly while holding his chin. Did he help Mr. Jiraiya realize his dream? Another day of good deeds. After a long time, he swept slowly among the ninjas who had not yet had time to chase them out. In the crowd, he suddenly found a familiar figure. A Kakashi with dazed eyes hanging from a dead fish suddenly appeared in his eyes. Yo, isn't this Kakashi? Wu Jiaowu walked over unconsciously, and then laughed loudly. Are you in good shape? The ruthless sarcasm awakened Kakashi, who was still in a stunned state. His eyes flashed a cold light, and his eyes became sharp. It's you, Wu Jiaowu, Kakashi said coldly. The previous lazy and decadent temperament was also swept away, and the whole person looked murderous. The moment he saw Wu Jiaowu, Kakashi seemed to feel something. He was convinced that the mastermind behind this scene must be this guy, Wu Jiaowu. Although I don't know why I'm so sure. But as soon as this feeling of familiarity with being trapped came, he knew that no one else could do this kind of thing except this person. You made right, Kakashi said in a positive tone. The opposite Wu Jiaowu touched his nose and said suspiciously. What? Can't understand what you're talking about. Why is this guy Kakashi able to make him feel a little dangerous? Is it an illusion? Shouldn't he know he did it? Wu Jiaowu rarely felt a little guilty. Kakashi didn't get angry but smiled and walked towards Wu Jiaowu slowly. Then, an 8-meter-long sword suddenly appeared in his hand. He swung towards Wu Jiaowu swiftly, wielding a large knife. What the hell is this? How did you start using knives, Kakashi? In other words, where did you hide this knife? Why didn't he find it at all before? Kakashi, you are a jerk. Wu Jiaowu went out in the direction where Jiraiya ran without hesitation. The situation is not good, he still runs first. Is this youth guy passing by side at this amazing scene? I didn't expect Kakashi to have such a youthful moment. Let me join your team too. Afterwards, he also followed the team and ran under the sunset. Naruto and Sasuke, who had been forgotten by everyone, froze in place. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Naruto, who had suffered too much all at once, sighed inexplicably. Good thing, Sasuke said slowly. At least they don't have to be teased by the second brother. And he rolled over happily. But, then, wouldn't our special training be gone? Naruto said in a deep voice. Don't they come for nothing today? Sasuke on the opposite side was stunned when he heard the words. He looked at the direction where everyone ran past and thought to himself. Could it be that he ditched them on purpose? Wasn't he fooled by him today? For a moment, he fell into a long silence. The blue clan clothes slowly swayed in the breeze with his mood. After a long time, everyone and Jiraiya ended the fight, and Kakashi and Wu Jiaowu also ended the chase. Wu Jiaowu leaned against the tree trunk, panting slightly. What a hassle. Why did he do such a troublesome thing before? He rarely regretted it. Today's workload is much larger than usual, and the sugar is completely lacking. I don't know that guy Kakashi. What happened today? the blue bar is so long, he just chased him for a whole afternoon. A hint of helplessness flashed in Wu Jiaowu's blue eyes. The black robe was swayed back and forth by the wind with his movements. The patience of those ninjas is too good. Jiraiya from another tree was also panting. They froze and fought with themselves for a whole afternoon. Really enough. At this time, Jiraiya has no energy to find trouble with Wu Jiaowu. He just wanted to find a good place to rest. Kakashi next to him saw his intention and stepped forward to stop him. Jiraiya-senpai, there are still some things I need to discuss with you. Huh, is there anything you need to call me? Jiraiya said casually after taking a sip of wine. I probably can't accomplish what you have in mind. Below is nothing but a novelist. He still has some things to do, it is impossible to stay in Konoha. Kakashi looked at Jiraiya who was sloppy and shook his head. Senior, I'm afraid it's a misunderstanding, I'm not here to persuade you. Immediately, he gestured with his eyes to Jiraiya on the opposite side. Not to persuade me to stay in Konoha, what is that for? Jiraiya thought in confusion. Then he also quickly received Kakashi's hint, and walked with him to the distant jungle. Wu Jiaowu, who was still in place, did not move, and was still leaning against the tree trunk very comfortably. He had absolutely no interest in their secret conversation. Moreover, he can also guess the content of the conversation between the two. It is nothing more than asking Jiraiya to teach Naruto ninjutsu. With the relationship that Naruto is Minato's only son, it must be impossible for Jiraiya to refuse. Soon, his conjecture was confirmed, with Jiraiya in charge of teaching Naruto and Kakashi in charge of teaching Sasuke. In one day, Kakashi successfully found a teacher for Naruto and Sasuke. Although one is him, Wu Jiaowu nodded silently, with a bright smile on the corner of his mouth. It seems that this time, he does not need to continue to be in charge of special training. Finally some time to relax. Time flies fast, many days have passed in a blink of an eye, and the Chunin exam is about to begin. Konoha, Hokage office. Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at everyone with a serious expression. He said in a low voice. Maybe someone has heard of it. Moonlight Gale's body was found near Kikyo Castle. In the crowd, some ninjas were taken aback and said in surprise. What, Gale, how come? Impossible, how can you die so easily with such a strong wind? Did Orochimaru do it? Mitarashi Anko asked heavily. What Orochimaru has done has become a lingering shadow for Mitarashi Anko. Not necessarily, we can't just draw conclusions. Kakashi quickly rejected Anko's opinion. This approach is actually not very Orochimaru's style. A ninja with a scar on his face said coldly. His wind is supposed to be following a sound ninja spy named Kabuto. But it has nothing to do with Orochimaru. Then stop the Chunin exam and capture Orochimaru. Hearing his words, Third Hokage shook his head. It's not that he didn't think about it, but this method simply won't work. He organized the language and said slowly. No, that guy made his identity in front of Anko and threatened not to suspend the Chunin exam where the allies gathered together. What the hell is going on? An elder looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen in confusion. Why can't we stop the Chunin exam and go all out to arrest Orochimaru? It is not impossible to deal with Orochimaru with their strength. Third generation turned to look at the elder who spoke up just now. He said solemnly, Orochimaru has the ability to capture a small country. It is estimated that after he left the village, all countries paid attention to him. Also, he left Konoha with resentment. So, the people present were all human beings, and they quickly grasped the point. Are all countries very attracted to him? The elder asked back just now. If that's the case, that's not good. At the same time, the ninja with a scar on his face also asked quickly. Shouldn't the allied countries join forces with Orochimaru to betray Konoha? As soon as these words came out, Third Hokage's eyes suddenly became sharp. Mitarashi Anko in the crowd was secretly relieved, and she closed her eyes heavily. Those alliance pacts are nothing more than casual agreements, Kakashi said calmly. That's what happened in the Ninja World War in the past. The scarred ninja looked at Kakashi in surprise. Didn't expect him to see things so deeply. In short, the master's information is too little right now, so there is no need to speculate. Third Hokage quickly made a conclusion. Anbu has secretly sent people to collect information from various countries. Another female elder spoke slowly. To act rashly will be in danger, and the enemy is doing so. So don't be in a hurry at this moment, lest you fall into the trap. After a long time, third Hokage glanced at the ninjas from the corner of their eyes. And, I trust you a lot. His eyes looked very clear and kind. As soon as these words came out, the hearts of all ninjas were quite touched. Asuma nodded at third Hokage with the 1,000 copies in his mouth. The other ninjas were also touched. Third Hokage looked at the people in front of him and thought to himself. As a last resort, it seems that all the power of Konoha must be gathered to fight. Time flies, and the Chunin exam is coming soon. Konoha, Chunin examination room. Wu Jiaowu and other candidates gathered in the center of the examination room. The eyes of countless spectators were on them. Wu Jiaowu looked up and looked around. The entire examination room is like a giant arena, with candidates fighting below, and spectators and examiners watching the battle above. The gathering of ninjas from villages in different countries looks spectacular. Strange, why hasn't Sasuke come yet? Naruto asked suspiciously. Could it be that he wants to give up the exam? It doesn't seem quite like that arrogant guy's style. I didn't expect your relationship to be so good. Wu Jiaowu yawned lazily and said with a smile. Start thinking about him after a while. Mr. Bandages, what horrible remarks are you talking about? Naruto exclaimed in surprise. Who has a good relationship with him? The golden broken hair also exploded slightly because of the violent mood at this time. Wu Jiaowu supported his chin and nodded, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Understood, understood. You don't have a good relationship at all. He was bored and bickered with Naruto next to him. His eyes wandered slightly to the seat not far away. He seemed to have seen Orochimaru's figure appear in the examination room just now. Counting the days, Orochimaru almost disguised as Cage to watch the game at this time. After all, his plan is about to start. He pondered these silently. The blue eyes under the bandages gradually became longer and farther. As for Sasuke, who hasn't come yet, Wu Jiaowu is not worried. This guy must be practicing Chidori ninjutsu just like the original. At the same time, third Hokage also started a conversation. Hasn't Sasuke been found yet? Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a serious look. Why isn't he there yet? Could it be that, thinking of his special identity, Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes froze instantly. Several Anbu people have been sent to look for it, but there is no news. The ninja with a scar on his face replied in a low voice. It may have fallen into Orochimaru's hands. If that's the case, it's impossible to find it. Third Hokage's expression suddenly became complicated. Will it be so? He thought to himself. Suddenly, a footstep interrupted his thoughts. Third Hokage slowly raised his head, and what caught his eye was the figure of Tsunagaku Kazuki. Oh, what a rare visitor. He said slowly with a smile on his face. Cage on the opposite side looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen calmly, with a somewhat incomprehensible emotion in his eyes. He sat down slowly under Sarutobi Hiruzen's gaze. It's been a lot of work, hard work. Third Hokage greeted with a smile. Orochimaru, who was disguised as Tsunagaku Kazuki, spoke slowly, with an inexplicable taste in his voice. Fortunately the venue is in Konoha. Although you are still young, if you are asked to attend the meeting specially, you will be very tired. I think you should decide your heir sooner rather than later. If Sarutobi Hiruzen had chosen himself as his heir, then Konoha will not have the current situation of green and yellow. But it doesn't matter. Soon, he will be able to prove to Sarutobi Hiruzen that only he is right. There was a flicker of coldness in Orochimaru's icy eyes. Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes narrowed when he heard the words, but he immediately laughed again. Don't think of me as an old man, I plan to work for another 5 years. As soon as the voice fell, he stood up and looked into the distance. Then, let's get started. Soon after, Wu Jiaowu breathed as he listened to Sarutobi Hiruzen's long explanation. Beside him stood Naruto and the other candidates. As for Ghost Lantern, Yu and Bai, they have already dropped out of the exam. Recently, they have been keenly aware that there is something wrong with Konoha's atmosphere. There is a feeling of storm coming. And Wu Jiaowu seems to know something mysterious. Asking fruitless, the two decided to find the answer themselves. After all, this guy Wu Jiaowu is too unreliable, he is an existence who can kill himself. They also need to pay more attention to what is happening around them, so as not to step into the pit together. Well, is it finally over? Wu Jiaowu, who was wandering in the sky, suddenly felt that he was poked. Strange, what happened? Finally finished the third generation speech right. He opened his eyes and looked around suspiciously. However, he found that the participating teams and the examiners were all staring at him here. What's wrong? He asked suspiciously, holding his chin. That, Mr. Bandage, Naruto whispered helplessly beside him. Now it's time to start explaining the rules of the game. Who the hell is the tail of the crane? It's easier to get distracted than him. Uzumaki Naruto stroked his forehead helplessly. Shiranui Xuanjian looked at the candidates who were all serious in front of him, and said slowly, I want to say a few words before the game. He took out a battle list from his arms. The team for the match has changed a little bit. Please confirm your opponent again. Everyone looked at the battle list one after another. Someone quit the competition. It's incredible. It's Guilan Yu and that guy Bai. Why did they quit the game? Their strength is very good, why is it so sudden? All of a sudden, everyone was puzzled, and their eyes swept over Wu Jiaowu, the white-haired boy beside him. This guy should know the answer. Strange, why didn't he retire like his mates? I wonder if he is as good as the other two. At this time, Wu Jiaowu ignored their gazes, silently holding his chin, not knowing what he was thinking. Okay, don't discuss it anymore. The examiner Shiranui Huo Xuanjian interrupted their discussion. With 1,000 books in his mouth, he looked at the candidates at the scene. The game is about to start, let me announce the rules of the game first. As in the qualifiers, the rules are no rules. It won't be decided until one side dies or concedes defeat. However, if I think the game is over, I'll stop the game. Don't resist, do you understand? Then the first round, Wu Jiaowu, Hyuga Neji. As soon as the words fell, the other candidates looked at Hyuga Neji and Wu Jiaowu next to them. The cold-hearted Neji and the sleepy-looking Wu Jiaowu soon came into their eyes. Two completely different people soon attracted everyone's discussion. It turned out to be the two of them. I thought it would be Neji and Sasuke in a talent fight. Yes, I didn't expect it to be with this person. By the way, why hasn't Uchiha Sasuke come yet? Indeed, I don't know why. They didn't talk about Wu Jiaowu next to them, their thoughts had been distracted by another genius of Konoha. As for the final battle between Wu Jiaowu and Neji, most people still think that the final winner will be Hyuga Neji. After all, the genius of his Konoha session rarely fails. As for his opponent Wu Jiaowu, he really couldn't see anything special. The previous preliminaries were also lucky to win, and it is difficult for people to estimate his strength. However, Konoha is the most powerful country in the ninja world, and the genius produced is no better than the unknown ninja village. They thought so. On the other side, a pity flashed across Gaara's face. Unexpectedly, the opponent this time was not Wu Jiaowu. But it doesn't matter, if he can beat Sasuke, he will be able to face Wu Jiaowu sooner or later. Thinking of this, Gaara's body suddenly burst out with a strong murderous aura. At this moment, other unrelated personnel have been evacuated from the scene. They slowly walked towards the viewing platform. Now there are only 3 people left in the examination room, Wu Jiaowu, Neji and the examiner. The eyes of the audience also turned to the 2 ninjas who were standing opposite each other at this time. The atmosphere at the scene suddenly became tense. Don't know which of them will win in the end. There's a good show to watch now, Inuzuka said in a relaxed tone while sitting in the viewing seat. I still don't know how strong this white-haired boy is. Hyuga Hinata, who was sitting next to him, also looked over. As she has played against Neji before, she is very aware of Neji's true strength. He is without a doubt a veritable genius. The winner of this match will undoubtedly be him. On the other side, the examiners are also staring at the 2 people in the field. Is this the ninja whose opponent in the preliminaries abstained and passed the customs smoothly? Yes, it's him. It looks ordinary, can you beat the genius of Konoha? Well, if he stayed by luck, he should stop here. The opponent is too scary, there is no way he can beat the Hyuga clan no matter what. Inside, Wu Jiaowu and Hyuga Neji stood opposite each other. Are you giving up struggling? Neji said coldly. Alright, I'll take you out of the exam room quickly. He looked at Wu Jiaowu's lazy look, and his expression suddenly became solemn. A guy like him who came here by luck and didn't cherish the opportunity to take exams is not worthy of standing here. Huh, really? Wu Jiaowu looked stunned for a moment, and slowly put down the hand holding his chin. Strange, why is this guy in front of him suddenly so angry? You don't seem to have done anything to him, do you? He thought silently. White eyes. Neji on the other side opened his eyes. His indifferent eyes stared at Wu Jiaowu in front of him. Although this guy looks sloppy, his overall stance is extremely confident, and he doesn't seem to be trying to be brave. Is he too arrogant or does he really have power? It doesn't matter. That's what makes it really interesting. I really want to see the panic in your eyes when you face reality. He used the gentle fist method to attack Wu Jiaowu suddenly. Wu Jiaowu looked at the faint chakra energy in Hyuga Neji's hands calmly, with a bright smile on the corner of his mouth. It turns out that Hyuga's gentle fist method looks like this. Although the attack in front of him looks flat and long, he knows that once the chakra is attacked by himself, it will be sealed and difficult to release. This kind of acupoint pointing technique can cause meridian damage to the opponent, and its high-speed continuous attack is enough to penetrate the tree. Wu Jiaowu kept dodging while watching Neji on the opposite side. It seems to have been severely suppressed. In the audience seats at this time, countless ninjas from all over the world saw this scene. They all started to discuss. It was severely suppressed. It looks like the winner will be decided soon. There is no way, just dodging has consumed all his energy. The Hyuga family's tactics are too restrained, and it is impossible to beat him in close combat. There may be hope for a long-range ninja, but in close combat with taijutsu, he won't have any hope. There is still hope for him to win now if the distance is widened. Otherwise, once Neji touches the acupuncture point by accident, the chakra in the body will be sealed in an instant, and then there will be no hope of turning over. At the same time, Naruto and the others also saw this scene. Looks like he's going to lose soon, Ino said slowly, holding his chin. As expected of the genius of the Hyuga family, his strength is amazing. It's too early to talk too much, Naruto said confidently. That guy can't be knocked down so easily. It is estimated that he is not in the state yet. After all, he has always been very unmotivated, as if he will lie down at any time. Lie down anytime. Mr. Bandage won't throw in the towel for being too lazy. A flash of surprise suddenly flashed in Naruto's eyes, and then he nodded, and his expression turned serious. This kind of thing is indeed very likely to be discovered. I hope he can play well, not have to run. Why are you so confident? Shikamaru next to him asked suspiciously. Where does this guy get the confidence that the white-haired ninja below can beat Hyuga Neji? That was always the #1 genius of Konoha, and it was not as easy to deal with as they thought. You know, as long as he hits the acupuncture point, it is equivalent to losing the chakra that ninjas depend on for a living. How can a ninja without chakra be able to beat Hyuga Neji, who is in great shape? Shikamaru shook his head slowly, sighing at Naruto's innocence. If he is a remote ninja, there may be a little hope, but now. Tien shook his head as he looked at Wu Jiaowu who kept dodging. Whenever he is a remote ninja, the first thing he does at this time is to distance himself. But he neither advances nor retreats, which is clearly a sign of a dilemma. Tien quickly came to a conclusion. There is nothing more to watch in this game. The game has just started, and it's too arbitrary to draw conclusions now. Little Sakura on the side also joined the conversation. Her gaze slowly swept across the white-haired boy Wu Jiaowu not far away. This guy is not as simple as they think. He was able to successfully lead them to escape the pursuit of the weird ninja, and independently challenge the strength of the 3 ninjas in the Sound Ninja village. To be able to accomplish this unscathed, his strength is even more terrifying than imagined. Neji is not necessarily his opponent. As for the current situation off the field, it is most likely because he is too lazy and has not cheered up. Little Sakura quickly went with Naruto guessing. The scene turned. At this time Hyuga Neji was still dealing with Wu Jiaowu. What are you doing? Hyuga Neji thought impatiently. Why don't you do it? Wu Jiaowu held his chin and said seriously. Today's fortune tells me that I have to walk 100 steps to get peach blossoms at the beginning of the day, and I am debating whether or not to try it. Wu Jiaowu said in a serious voice. He had just walked 88 steps with Hyuga Neji, and there were still more than 10 steps to go. I don't know if the start that the magician said is now. Is it 100 steps before the official battle? Is there any particular attention and consideration in the position? Wu Jiaowu held his chin and thought seriously. Are you kidding me? Neji's body had a rare murderous look. The usual battle can only make the fighting spirit high. But today's battle really made him boil with murderous intent. Is this guy looking down on himself? Hyuga Neji's eyes became more and more cold when he looked at Wu Jiaowu, who was facing him. He must bring down this strange ninja. In an instant, he rushed towards Wu Jiaowu, who was facing him. The overall attack speed and rhythm are getting higher and higher. Children these days are so bad-tempered, they're almost as bad as Sasuke. Wu Jiaowu muttered softly while dodging Neji's attack. Why don't you ask me about your fortune? Neji mocked coldly. Today your destiny is to be defeated by me. You might as well give up now. Wu Jiaowu blinked and said solemnly. Is that so? But I only believe in my own destiny. I am unwilling to agree to the fate that others have arranged for me. White hair fluttered in the air as he moved. The black robe also began to flutter in the wind. Hearing this, the face of Hyuga Neji on the opposite side suddenly shuddered. The look in his eyes gradually darkened. What the hell is this guy talking about? Your own destiny. It's ridiculous, no one can set their own destiny. A person's talents are arranged from birth. In other words, everything is doomed from birth. Everyone has to live in an irresistible fate. There is only one destiny equal for all, and that is death. Hyuga Neji stared at the opposite Wu Jiaowu intently, and his eyes became very sharp. He stretched out his palm, and the rich chakra lingered on it. Let me help you get rid of this ridiculous idea. Meanwhile, in the audience. It's over, Neji is getting serious. Tian said worriedly. Hopefully we don't hit the opponent too hard. Anyway, this is also a ninja of the allies, so it's better not to look too ugly. What this white-haired boy said just now seems to have stepped on Neji's minefield. Wu Jiaowu held his chin and looked at Neji, who was about to be ignited by anger. There was peace in the blue eyes. When I heard fate, I was so angry. Did it hit your pain point? He's getting angry at the fate that was decided from the moment he was born. He clearly said that he would obey his fate, but he could not accept it in his actions. It would be very unreasonable for him to say that the system of branch houses and clans is itself very unreasonable. The design of the caged bird mystery is even more absurd. Forcibly stamping a person with countless possibilities as a puppet, anyone would resist. It's a rotten idea that only rotten oranges can come up with. It's worse than the Uchiha family's former militant faction. At least they are not afraid of things, they just want to do things. In this comparison, those militant factions have also become much more refined. Wu Jiaowu shook his head and retracted his thoughts. It's not an easy thing to want me to obey fate, he said in a relaxed tone. Wu Jiaowu didn't use any teleportation to dodge the attack. This level of attack does not use such a skill. He just used the simplest basic physique. However, every movement is extremely precise and concise, like a textbook standard. He was always able to get out of the way under Hyuga Neji's attack. No extra energy and time wasted. At this time, he was still very relaxed and comfortable, and it was completely impossible to see that he was engaged in a fierce battle. With the constant fights, Neji on the opposite side also seemed to have discovered this problem. His eyes gradually became colder. What happened? Couldn't have attacked him in my 8 trigrams. Why is this so? Neji rolls his eyes at Wu Jiaowu's chakra. Chakra's performance and flow are normal, but it is this normality that makes Neji's pupils shrink. How could this be? Chakra hasn't changed at all. A person's chakra state in normal activities should not be the same as the chakra state in battle. During combat, the chakra appears to be activated, more active than usual. But now Wu Jiaowu's chakra state is similar to that of an ordinary ninja when he is resting. Wasn't the fight just now enough to get his chakra alive? Didn't he just take it seriously? No way. A cold sweat crept across Neji's forehead, and his gaze settled again. No matter what the weirdness of the ninja on the other side is, I have to defeat him today. Prove that you are the one who is truly right. As a genius ninja of Konoha, Neji not only has an extraordinary talent for fighting, but also has no ability in terms of psychological quality. He has an extraordinary calm and confidence. The opposite Wu Jiaowu watched his mood change, and there was a hint of admiration in his eyes. Not bad, kid. However, he promised Naruto that he would teach Hyuga Neji what is the truth, goodness and beauty in the world. I'm sorry then. The corner of Wu Jiaowu's mouth evoked a wicked smile. As early as the previous preliminaries, Naruto saw Neji beat Hyuga Hinata over and over again without mercy. The victory and defeat had already been revealed, but he still had a very heavy hand. And the most important thing is that what he said is really full of grooves. So Naruto bribes him, who happened to be in a group with Neji, with a 3-colored dumpling for 7 days. Wu Jiaowu, who carried everyone's dreams, accepted the agreement very understandingly. Swipe. In an instant, the shuriken from countless angles attacked Hyuga Neji in all directions. Ha! The opposite Hyuga Neji sneered. This kind of trick doesn't work for him. Even if his white eyes are invisible at an angle, it does not mean that he can be easily attacked. 8 trigrams palms revolving heaven. In an instant, a large amount of chakra was released from the chakra acupoints on Neji's body. He used these chakras to successfully resist the shuriken's attack. Then his body spun like a top. In an instant, all the shuriken were bounced out. Bang bang bang. Countless shuriken fell to the ground, making scattered and crisp sounds. Meanwhile, the audience seats. It's revolving heaven. Tien in his seat stared at the arena and said. Originally, the chakra released from the chakra cave is difficult to control. Even a Jonin can only use a part of the body, such as the chakra released from the hands or feet. But Neji, who trained Gentle Fist Ultimate, can release chakra from the whole body. And it is possible to completely defend against attacks physically by the power released alone. That is to say, it is another absolute defense with power above Gaara. Shikamaru, who heard Tien's commentary next to him, looked at Neji on the field in surprise. So powerful, he muttered silently. However, he still felt that the white-haired ninja would not easily lose the game. He had noticed that every action and attack Wu Jiaowu made was the best attack that could be made with the lowest consumption. That is to say, the same kind of attack, he will consume much less energy than others. And, with Neji's stormy attack, he was still able to do it. The overall battle rhythm is still firmly in hand. This is so amazing. Shikamaru felt that such a person would not lose so easily. On the other side, the test arena. Wu Jiaowu's blue eyes looked at Neji at this time. A perfect defense. The chakra in the body successfully protects the whole body. It is true that close combat against Hyuga Neji will be very troublesome. Ninjutsu and other attacks are relatively simple. However, that would be pointless. Wu Jiaowu held his chin and thought to himself, and the corner of his mouth also evoked an overly bright smile. He retracted his thoughts and refocused his attention on the current battle. Suddenly, Wu Jiaowu moved. He rushed towards Hyuga Neji not far away. At the same time, stretch out the right palm and chop down. Neji on the opposite side was suddenly stunned, and looked at Wu Jiaowu at the moment strangely. Doesn't he know that his attacks have no effect on him? And he had always avoided close combat before, so what now? All kinds of questions flashed through his mind, but he didn't delve into it. It's also a good opportunity for him. Hyuga Neji did not pay attention to the hand knife that was already close at hand at this time. Revolving Heaven will help him block all attacks. And all he has to do now is catch the white-haired ninja. Wu Jiaowu's speed is too fast, it is really difficult to attack. What he has to do now is to restrain Wu Jia and catch him. He wants to cherish this opportunity. There won't be such a good opportunity next time. The corners of Hyuga Neji's mouth twitched slightly. At the same time, Wu Jiaowu also noticed Neji's current choice. Is he going to use Revolving Heaven to resist, and then take this opportunity to attack himself? Wu Jiaowu soon discovered Hyuga Neji's intentions. That's it, that's fine. A faint smile flashed in his eyes. Neji's choice just fits Wu Jiaowu's heart. Boom. Wu Jiaowu easily dodged the attack from Hyuga Neji. In the middle of the fight, Wu Jiaowu stretched out his right hand, turned his palm into a knife and successfully chopped Hyuga Neji at the moment. Crack. Neji hurriedly took a few steps back while holding onto his right arm that was hit to distance himself. He looked up at Wu Jiaowu, and there was a hint of shock in his expression. How is this going? How did you get attacked just now? Didn't he start revolving heaven already? Hyuga Neji looked down at his right arm. There was some confusion and shock in his eyes. The chakra on his right arm was sealed. What happened? Why did Wu Jiaowu's attack work so well against himself? Could it be that what he used just now was also acupuncture? If so, who did he learn from? Meanwhile, in the audience. How? Tian said in surprise. Neji is actually injured. Also, it doesn't seem to be light. Seeing Neji holding his right arm, Tian's eyes flashed a trace of worry and doubt. Why does it look like it's sealed chakra? Delusion. That white ninja is not easy, Shikamaru said with a shocked expression. He even managed to dodge Hyuga Neji's attack and still have the strength to fight back. And the effect of the counterattack is still so good. This is not as simple as grasping the rhythm of the battle and controlling the distribution of power. This kind of attack that is so thrilling to ultimate, only those who are very confident in themselves or will try to kill themselves. He should not be the latter. So Neji has been seen through by him, Shikamaru thought with a wary look. However, he did not expect Wu Jiaowu to actually occupy both. Wu Jiaowu, who doesn't like to do things, is not the real Uchiha. Next to Hyuga Hiyashi was equally shocked. But in addition to being shocked, his heart was full of 443, vigilance and precaution. Unlike the two children next to him, he didn't know much about the gentle fist of Hyuga's family, so he didn't see his name. Through the short fight just now, he immediately discovered something was wrong. What Wu Jiaowu uses is acupuncture in the gentle fist method. He blocked the chakra on Neji's right arm. This is the stunt of Hyuga's family fame. How did he learn it? Moreover, the gentle fist of Hyuga's family can only exert its due strength under the action of Bian. Could it be that? Thinking of this, his face changed drastically. On the other side, in the examination room, Hyuga Neji held his right arm and looked at Wu Jiaowu opposite with a cold expression. This is gentle fist. How did you get the gentle fist method? He asked warily. This is a gentle fist that can only be learned by members of the family. How could he be an outsider? Could it be that the secret technique was accidentally leaked out? Impossible. The clan has always been extremely strict in controlling these aspects, and it is impossible to disclose it easily. The caged bird on his head is a prime example. And it's not enough to just have a gentle fist. It also needs to be paired with a white eye to unleash the full power of gentle fist. However, the move in front of him was indeed a gentle fist. What exactly is going on? Well, this is it. The opposite Wu Jiaowu held his chin and thought for a while. Didn't you teach me just now? Through the fight just now, he has been able to accurately judge the laws and skills of gentle fist. Although there are no white eyes, the six eyes can also help him obtain a lot of information. So he can use the same tricks. Of course, the first use is actually not very proficient. But it's enough to scare the kids. Wu Jiaowu's blue eyes flashed a faint smile. What's the joke? Neji said coldly. Is this white-haired ninja perfunctory? By fighting, can you immediately learn the other party's family secrets? And it's also a body technique like gentle fist that needs the blessing of white eyes. How can that be? If any one person can do this, why do the major families in the ninja world spend so much effort to keep the secret of the bloodline boundary? This is impossible. He can't do that. I don't believe it, Hyuga Neji said in an ice-like voice. He didn't believe what Wu Jiaowu could learn after just one look. However, there was one place he did believe. That is, Wu Jiaowu has already gained a white eye. Only by looking at him can he accurately judge the trend of chakra's energy. Where did his white eyes come from? Where did it come from? Thinking of this, Hyuga Neji's complexion became more and more condensed. Blind eyes. He condensed chakra around his eyes and stared at Wu Jiaowu's pair of eyes that were covered by bandages. For a moment, he saw a pair of pale blue eyes. A pair of eyes that seemed to condense the mysteries of countless worlds. It's not a blank eye. Neji's expression flashed a hint of surprise. It's not a blind eye. He thought that the ninja on the other side had stolen Hyuga's white eyes. Unexpectedly, it was not a white eye. If so, how did he do it? I told you all, but you don't believe it. Wu Jiaowu shook his head helplessly. In terms of insight, the six-eyed insight is definitely above the white eye. He doesn't need to be a plug at all, try the hardness of his eyes. At the same time, Neji, who was stunned opposite, quickly retracted his thoughts. He stabilized his mind and moved forward. No matter what the weirdness of this Wu Jiaowu is, it is enough for him to win this match. As for the attack just now, it may just be a coincidence. Neji quickly attacked Wu Jiaowu, and the dense palm wind tightly surrounded Wu Jiaowu. Not bad. A bright smile flashed across Wu Jiaowu's mouth. If that's the case, let's end it soon. Suddenly, a large amount of chakra was released from his body, and then the whole person spun like a spinning top. Neji, who was still attacking, was quickly ejected by Wu Jiaowu. This is revolving heaven. How is this possible? Neji, who fell to the ground, was quickly stunned by the scene in front of him. His eyes flashed with surprise. How did this white-haired ninja do it? Is it really like he said, just read it once and learn it? How can that be? How could this be possible without the corresponding bloodline boundaries and occult teachings? Neji fell into a prolonged shock. The place was suddenly silent for a moment. Countless ninjas have watched this scene in front of them. How is this possible? This kid must be from the Hyuga family, right? It's impossible to do this without white eyes and secret techniques. Have you learned it after reading it once? What kind of learning ability is this? Better than the Sharingan. Yeah, Sharingan can't do that either. The Hyuga family, who was watching the battle, could not calm down for a long time. Their proud Shueiji has now been learned and defeated by an ordinary ninja. If an ordinary ninja can reach this level, what is so special about their blood succubus? It's impossible. Did he use his eyes? Did he steal the secret techniques of the Zong family? Hyuga Hiyashi next to him shook his head and whispered. As early as just now, I have already probed with white eyes, and there is really no sign of white eyes. He's not doing those tricks through the eyes. There is still a certain chance that acupuncture can be learned by stealth, but revolving heaven is a secret technique passed down by word of mouth in the clan, and he has no chance of stealing it at all. Perhaps, as he said, learned in battle. Hyuga Hiyashi's eyes were full of lingering consternation. There really is such a talented person. It's easy to overtake others' decades of effort. This is way too much. Even in the age when geniuses gathered, he had never seen such a person. Tien from the Neji group next to him couldn't believe his eyes. No way. How does this guy use revolving heaven? Isn't this Hyuga's stunt? Could it be that he is from the Hyuga clan? Tien said with a sigh while leaning on the fence next to him. Hearing this, Shikamaru quickly denied Tien's conjecture. At the same time, his eyes slowly moved to Hyuga Hiyashi, the patriarch of the Hyuga family. Impossible. If it's from the Hyuga family, how could there be no movement there? And, have you noticed a problem? What's the problem? Tien frowned and asked in confusion. When Wu Jiaowu cast revolving heaven just now, his attack angle and attack rhythm were very similar to a person. Tien was stunned for a moment, and the previous battle scene instantly appeared in her mind. Like a person. Could it be that you were talking about Neji? Very similar indeed. Could it be that the guy learned it temporarily? Shikamaru looked at Tien's suspicious face and nodded. That's how it should be. The white-haired ninja, while Neji was attacking, understood his attack method and principle, and then copied it completely, which caught Neji by surprise. Completely copy it, Tien said thoughtfully. Could it be that he owns Sharingan? It can't be. Wasn't the Uchiha family exterminated? Not Sharingan. Shikamaru shook his head and said quietly. Although Sharingan has the ability to copy, it is still difficult to copy the secret art of Hyuga's gentle fist. This kind of gentle fist needs to cooperate with the eyes and have a good understanding of the human body's meridians to perform successfully. It won't be Sharingan. Besides, if he is really a survivor of Uchiha, how could he come to Konoha to take the Chunin exam? It's not because the head iron wants to test it. Shikamaru shook his head silently. At this time, he didn't know that such a strange Uchiha really existed. Gaara folded her arms and stared at the two people on the field. Sure enough, he will not lose. Only in this way can he be qualified to fight with himself. Thinking of this, the corner of his mouth couldn't help but lift up. What a terrible talent. Tamari also saw this scene on the scene. How can someone learn other people's stunts so easily? How can this be accepted by others? She shook her head and sighed. Those who are proud of their own ninjutsu may have a hard time accepting such a thing. He may be the most hated opponent of other ninjas. Kankuro suddenly said. No one can face pairs of such a thing. How has your decades of hard work been immediately learned by others? Anyone would be crazy about it. On the other hand, the examiners also have heated discussions. He actually learned the Hyuga family's famous stunts. It's impossible, right? How can such a thing be possible? He wouldn't be from the Hyuga family, would he? The examiner guy next to him also saw this scene, and his usual bright smile gradually subsided. How did this guy do it? Blind eyes. It shouldn't be, this is Konoha after all. Kakashi's hanging eyes swept slightly over Wujiawu under the stage. No ninja would do something like this here. A ninja from the outer village showed his eyes in Konoha, afraid that he was not trying to cause a siege. Kakashi shook his head secretly. He didn't make a shot in the first half. I think he should be watching and learning. When he learned quickly, playing against Hyuga Neji in this way made Neji nervous. In the end, I succeeded in winning the championship and winning the game. What a genius, in every way. Compared with him and Guy in those days, both are even worse. I don't know who cultivated the talents. But this kind of copying ability can only be done by Sharingan. The red next to him said puzzled. Speaking of this, Hong paused for a moment, her eyes slowly falling on the bandages on Wu Jiaowu's eyes. Even Sharingan is useless. Perhaps in the world of sentient beings, everything is clearer. Kakashi said slowly. In fact, if it wasn't for the fact that the original Uchiha Satoru had already confirmed his death, he would have suspected that the bandaged boy was disguised by him. However, how is that possible? Thinking of this, Kakashi secretly shook his head. Anyway, I hope Neji can get out of this game. Might Guy looked at Neji off the court with a worried look. The blow was fatal to Neji, who had always been a genius. Talents that are often proud of are easily compared in front of others. I don't know if he can accept it. Moreover, even Neji has gone through many difficulties and setbacks to realize the mystery of revolving heaven. Today, the existence of this white-haired ninja directly obliterates all his efforts. Neji Kakashi soon discovered Might Guy's concerns. He patted Guy on the shoulder and said lightly. Forget it, Neji, he's not so vulnerable. As a ninja, it's a fact that you have to face. The more you touch the world, the more you will discover the breadth of the world and the multitude of geniuses. The guy next to him felt relieved and laughed heartily. He regained his youth and vigor. Ha ha ha, you're right. Aren't you also a genius that I couldn't catch up with back then? Neji may meet a lifelong opponent like me this time. Kakashi heard the words with black lines all over his face. A lifetime opponent, forget it. At the same time, this was also seen by Third Hokage and Orochimaru disguised as Kazekage. What a genius! Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen exclaimed with deep eyes. I didn't expect such a genius-like character to appear in the Chunin exam. He had underestimated this white-haired boy before. It's unbelievable how he could do the math with Neji's tricks so quickly. This is better than the children of Uchiha back then. What is the origin of this sweet ninja village? How could there be such an excellent freshman ninja? There is no existing Konoha that can compete with it. Really a very dangerous signal. Thinking of this, Third Hokage's face suddenly darkened. Shouldn't he have acquiesced to Danzo's approach in the first place? He fell into deep thought. On the other side, Orochimaru's golden pupils were about to reveal themselves excitedly. He didn't expect Wu Jiaowu to give him such a big surprise. Can replication be done without Sharingan? How did you do it? Can ordinary people do it too? Or does he have other bloodline boundaries more precious than Sharingan? However, the probability of this is very small. The boundaries of blood follow are traceable, not created out of thin air. So is this his unique talent? It's more precious than Sharingan. I didn't expect this young man to be able to achieve this step, and he underestimated him at the beginning. Orochimaru stared at Wu Jiaowu off the court, secretly expressing emotion. He suppressed his excitement and silently hooked the corner of his mouth. It won't be long before either Uchiha Sasuke or the teenager will be his best container. This Chunin exam is really worthless, Orochimaru exclaimed in a low voice. To see such a great talent. It makes me feel a little bit moved. Ha ha ha, yes, Sarutobi Hiruzen next to him also said with a smile. I didn't expect there were such outstanding ninjas. It's really a hero out of a boy. It's amazing. Orochimaru turned slightly to look at Sarutobi Hiruzen next to him, and there was a hint of gloom in his eyes that was hard to hide. Does his teacher regret it again? Starting to regret the extermination of the Uchiha Manchus? Orochimaru easily noticed the change in Sarutobi Hiruzen's mood. No one knows his teacher better than himself. Indecisive, overwhelmed. Always start regretting things after they happen. However, he won't do much until it happens. Really? Orochimaru's mouth curled into a mocking smile. However, if I hadn't seen the different markings on the forehead of Protector, I would have thought that he was a talent of Konoha. After all, the original Konoha often appeared such young geniuses. His voice was low and deep, with a hint of indescribable taste. Hearing this, Third Hokage's face suddenly turned cold. What is this guy trying to say? For a while, the atmosphere between the two became inexplicably low. On the other side, on the field, the examiner, Genma Shiranui, looked at Hyuga Neji, who had lost his ability to fight, and announced the result of the match. The game is over, the winner Wu Jiaowu. It's finally over. Wu Jiaowu touched the bandage and was about to leave. He seemed to have felt a familiar gaze lingering on him just now. Slippery and eerie. Could it be Orochimaru? While he was thinking with his chin on his back, he suddenly heard a voice from Hyuga Neji not far away. Wait a moment. Wu Jiaowu stopped and looked up. Did you learn it during the fight just now? Hyuga Neji walked over slowly and asked calmly. A normal ninja without blood is completely different from a ninja with blood. This is one thing all ninjas default to. As for ordinary ninjas to learn the tricks of blood ninjas, it is even more impossible to think about. Unexpectedly, someone broke the setting of fate and completed this feat as an ordinary person. Can fate really be changed? A faint light suddenly flashed in Hyuga Neji's eyes. At this time, Wu Jiaowu didn't know what Hyuga Neji was thinking. He held his chin and nodded suspiciously. Strange, he has already said this. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.